Is going on, people? Welcome to a transfer deadline day special. We have got less than 3 hours till the window is shut. Still, business is not over. There are still reports about potential striker joining from PSG. Yes, there's been conflicting reports about PSG only want to sell him on a permanent deal, but it might still happen. We're going to be here for the 3 hours talking everything related to Palace. But if you're watching this on replay and if you're watching it live as well, let's hit the like button. Let's see how many likes we can get. I know we can hit easily 100. Can we get 150? Can we get 200? Let's all smash the like button, people. Helps us out massively as we're closing in on 4K as well. Let's see how many subscribers can we gain in this 3 hours time. We're joined by Patrick here, but there's going to be special guests as well joining us. Hambo is going to be joining us later on down the show. Stan and AJ will be joining shortly. T will be also coming on in the final hour to give his say. We're going to talk about our business overall. As you can see from the title, has our business been good so far? Are we happy with the window? And also, the latest updates will be all covered there. Basically, everything related to Palace will be here. We'll be here for 3 hours, and hopefully some of you will be staying with us for the 3 hours as well, even though it will be a long show. Hopefully, that one final bit of business, because it hasn't happened yet, that could keep us going for the 3 hours, which I'll be honest, Patrick, in the past, we've done these shows, and and I mean, there was literally no business to talk about, but we still managed to talk about it for 3 hours. So let me ask you this question. What have you made of today so far then? With all the reports coming out, of course, Rob Holding, we've done a show earlier on that. Have you been surprised by just the one or two player focus, or would you have expected more players to be linked to a Palace on deadline day?
I'm never surprised at Palace and lack of links. So I'm not surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised that of other teams like Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest around us. I've been linked to a lot of players that we would like to have gotten, like Hudson-Odoi or Sinistera potentially going there. But as on the Palace side, I'm not surprised at the the links. But again, let's be honest. One of the things that you like to talk about is that a lot of stuff we do is a quiet stuff. We do it kind of quietly. So potentially maybe there's a deal to be done that's quiet. I mean, I remember we were here a year ago. No, 9 months ago we did when Ahamada got signed in the winter window. That came down to the last minute when we got him, and then we obviously got in Sambi the Congo that same day, deadline day. There's a chance we can get somebody late. I mean, the thing is we haven't really addressed what we need to address, which is the forward line. Either wide player or you guys want to bang on about a striker. All right, whatever. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, we'll see. We shall see. It could be a very interesting last couple of hours. I'm not on whatever that platform's called, what they call it now. So you and AJ and Stan love that. So you guys keep your updates on that. I'm watching TalkSport on YouTube if I see anything come up there, but I'm not going on that stupid website or whatever you call it to find out what's going on. But I'm sure you'll be on it and all upset about all the rumors, people getting all mad about Palace. I'm calm at this. I'm calm.
Yeah. So look, we're gonna, as I said, if you're just joining us now, hit the like button, people, and subscribe if you're new here. We're going to be here for the 3 hours till the window is shut, giving you all the latest updates. Hopefully, there will be some real updates coming soon. I got right before the show started, there was a news about PSG signing a forward, which could potentially open the door for us. So let's see in the last 3 hours what we can do. AJ, how you been, bro? You was on a preview show the other day. I know you've had a hectic week or so, but in terms of today's news, what you've been seeing online, Rob Holding, let's start off with that. Me and Patrick gave our thoughts on it. Rob Holding joining on a permanent deal. Are you happy with that business on deadline day?
It's strange. I think in terms of the priorities that we obviously needed, we've somehow in the past 48 hours wrapped up Rob Holding and Dean Henderson, which, save for quality and squad building, is good, but for what we actually visibly need, isn't. I actually watched the stream review of Patrick earlier on, and I agree with a lot of what Patrick said. I mean, it's a good signing on paper, but in terms of actually for what we need right now, doesn't make any sense. However, it's good value for money. It's got to be said. I mean, even with the Henderson element, that is, barring the wages, that is also good value for money. I feel like you've now got competition for places in the team, but the places that we actually need priority-wise aren't addressed. And that's what's frustrating for me. You know, it looks like we potentially could maybe get a striker by the end of tonight. We shall see. But, you know, getting your hopes up, you know, until I see certain man wearing the kit doesn't mean anything. We signed Henderson on, what, Tuesday? We didn't present him until yesterday. So, I don't know, man. This club can sometimes give you a migraine if you put too much, too much time into it. So, I don't know, man. We got to give Roy as the squad, man, and we got to give him something to work with. So, I don't know, man. I feel like there's at least 1 or 2 deals that have to be pulled out the bag. Otherwise, it's going to be a failure.
Yeah, let's see what happens in the hour that you're in. Of course, we'll rotate. Of course, you're a busy man, you're a family man, so we'll have you on for this hour. So hopefully your hour is a lucky hour, and we sign a player within that time. But I'll be honest, we got about 50 minutes left, so yeah. But let's see who actually has a pool. Let's see who has a pool. Let's start us off with AJ. Go on, Patrick.
So I have a couple of points, and just hear me out before you guys comment on it. One is that, you know, I remember in the past, especially on deadline day, Parry talks about there has to be some kind of domino effect. So, for instance, we don't get Dean Henderson if Guaita doesn't want to leave, and/or they don't sign the Turkish keeper. If they don't go there, we can't get Henderson. That's kind of how that falls together. I was thinking today, I just realized Forest just signed Hudson-Odoi, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So for me, means Emmanuel Dennis has no future at Forest. No future at all. He's going to be moving. Now, he may not be moving yesterday because they hadn't signed Hudson-Odoi. Maybe they're trying to get Emmanuel Dennis. So that's one thing I was thinking about just now, just kind of off the cuff. Next thing is, I know you guys don't follow the 21s as much as I do. They have a game today against Wolves. You know they're playing today. And Malcolm Aboué is starting again. So he's coming back to match fitness. He's not going to go out on loan. So he could be an option also as a wide player. So I'm just throwing it out there that maybe the options of wide aren't as bad as we think, because again, Aboué has been out all preseason. Just came back for the last preseason game. I mean, last U21 game. He's playing again, starting again today. Last time he came on as a sub. Maybe, you know, club isn't talking about it. Maybe they feel like he can fill in as a wide player, because again, we all thought last year we got him, he was ready to go, right? And he didn't work out. Went out on loan, blah blah blah. So maybe Aboué could be an option wide. But again, we still need a striker, obviously.
So the latest updates before we talk about our business so far and everything else related to Palace is that Kolo Muani to PSG is here we go, deal in place for 90 million package. So PSG have got their forward, which according to reports earlier, that could only really happen if they let go of Hugo Ekitike, who Palace have been linked with as well. So let's see if this has a domino effect, people. It should be exciting to see if we can pull this through. But PSG have signed their player, so let's see if we manage to pull something out of the bag and we end it on a high. Sergeant Rary, thank you for your super chat. Mark Corporate, Palace. I don't know if that's
separate that birth, mate. Separate that birth.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but thank you so much for your super chat. But people, even if you hit the like button, I'll be, very thankful for that as well. That helps us massively to spread around the channel and get more people going and finding it. But yeah, look, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with the PSG striker.
Hold on. If let's say we pull off this striker move, right? Including holding and all the other business we've done this summer, what are we saying? Out of 10.
If you pull it, probably, yeah. If you do pull it, then it will be 8, I'll say, because we've strengthened up front. We strengthened the squad overall. I mean, Henderson wouldn't be as bad. We wouldn't talk about Henderson's fee, right? Because Henderson, the sad thing is about Dean Henderson is that we haven't really talked about Dean Henderson as a goalie. We talked about Dean Henderson as a fee and not strengthening up front or forward plays. So if you sign a forward play, then Dean Henderson deal looks fantastic. Rob Holding, that's improvement at centre half. We've got a striker. We've got a young player who maybe in the future could, grow in value. With Matheus França, he's joined from Flamengo, kept Olise. So I think relatively that'll be solid. Maybe we could have got another winger for it to be a 10 out of 10, but that'll be an excellent window. Saying that, if we don't sign another forward, then that rating drops significantly because striker should be one of our priorities going into this window. And if we haven't strengthened that position, then I think that'll be poor. So for me, it'll be 8 out of 10 if we do sign the PSG forward. But if we don't sign him, then I'll be honest, it probably drops to like 5 or 6 because Lerma's fantastic. All the signs are fantastic, but we still have that problem up front, which we haven't really solved. I mean, we can't keep. It's the same with right back, for example. We've put right back aside for years, and we can't be doing that with striker. We just have to solve it. But yeah, that's how I feel. Well, Patrick, what about you? Striker versus strikerless rating of the window, if we was to put it through.
So getting a striker, listen, Ekitike is very young. He's not prolific. He's a young kid. I mean, it's like France. He's unproven. So, but the potential is there. So I would say a 7.5 if we were able to get him. But no more than that, because I'm going to still say we needed to get fullback options, whether it's a left back. We were in for Lewis Hall. Obviously, that fell apart. I'm really worried if Mitchell gets injured. I love Gyro. I don't want to see Gyro at left back. I don't want to see Klein at left back. I want to see Ward at left back. Maybe that's Adam Roller, because he's not going out alone, so he might step up. Who knows? But if we don't get a striker, like you did, it's like a 5, because as much as I really like the Lerma move. I love the France move. I have no problem with the Henderson move at all, or Holding. There was an issue. Two of those areas we didn't need to strengthen, except for the fact that Guaita had to go, and we just felt like we need to bring another centre half in for whatever reason. So, no strikers 5, striker 7.5 for me.
Yeah. Look, let's talk about. I was going to quickly mention something. It just flew out of my head. Of course, strikers. With all the strikers that we've been linked with, like Che Adams, Iheanacho, you would have been the most ideal signing for you guys. I'll start off with you, AJ, because we've been linked with a few this summer. Would Hugo be the main one that you'd be excited about, or would you have preferred a player like Iheanacho, who has a bit more Premier League experience? Because it's about balancing potential versus what they can do in the Premier League. So where do you lean towards?
I think the one I wanted the most was Iheanacho, because he's got the experience, he's got the quality we've seen, he's got the experience, especially at Premier League level, and I feel like he's got something very, very different to the other two strikers. But Hugo, I like the idea of it. It really excites me. He's obviously got talent. That's clear as day and evident, and he's very silky on the ball. I don't know if how the physicality of the Premier League he'd adjust to that. That's one thing I'd be interested to see, because he is quite a slim boy. He's a very slim young man, to be fair. So I'd be quite intrigued to see how he would perform under that kind of pressure. But there's bits of his game that I like, and he's very fast, very skillful, he's obviously got a big future no matter where he ends up, whether it be us, West Ham, still PSG, who knows. But yeah, that one would have came second for me. I mean, the Che Adams one is just so dull for me. I'm not having it. I'm not a fan of the idea at all. I mean, say what you want, he might be an alternative. He's alternative and he's different, and he's maybe a small percentage of better than Mateta and even Edouard, but he's not prolific. He's not particularly. He doesn't excite me. He's physical, and he's got a goal in him. He's not afraid of to try and hit the back of the net. But out of those three, that would be my order.
Patrick, what do you make of the Che Adam rumours all summer? Like, do you understand why we would be after a player like him? Yes, it hasn't really worked out for him at Southampton, but do you understand the qualities that he might have, or are you more like AJ, thinking that would have not been an ideal, signing in terms of improving our quality up front?
Wouldn't have worked for me. I understand the profile, because we're looking for someone with a different profile than Mateta and Edouard. He puts himself about a lot. He can get in behind a little bit, but he's not a great finisher. Southampton didn't score that many goals. Doesn't score a lot of goals for Scotland. So I understood why we'd go in for him, to somebody different. I'm glad we didn't get him, because I was interested in having him. Nacho, I get now why he's going to stay. He wants to run down his contract and next year sign wherever he wants. He'd have been the one I would have gotten out of those two, because I think he's more experienced. We all know he scored a goal against Palace when he was when at Man City. He scored against us all the time, even at Leicester City. He's won medals at those clubs. So he would have, and he's a really good goal scorer international. But what I would have gotten, you didn't mention, would have been obviously within Balogun. We talked about that in the previous stream. That's what I wanted to go for. Balogun, I thought would have been great, but the money he was priced out by Palace. He just wasn't going to come to Palace, because also wanted one tick, because he's gone now. A lot of money for him. So the market, honestly, we've seen so many times.
So just a quick update. Sorry, I just need to come through. So the latest from Miguel Delaney from the Independent is that PSG are talking to Crystal Palace and West Ham about Ekitike as Kolo Mane deal is done. So PSG are in talks with Palace and West Ham as well, as they have got their forward as expected. Sorry, AJ, go ahead.
No, I was just on what Patrick was saying. In the end, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he only end up going for like £32 million after they demanded 50?
Yeah, something around.
Balogun ended up only going for about 30, didn't he?
No, there's also like a massive sell-on clause though. There's a big sell-on clause for him, so I don't know if we would have gone for that. I mean, I don't know. So Balogun been I want to go on to Ekitike, by the way. I didn't realize he played for Reims, by the way, before Balogun got there. He scored 11 goals.
That's where he made his name, innit?
No, he wasn't at the same club. Apparently, yeah. So interesting. Maybe we should get Will Still in at Palace. He actually can get strikers to score goals. He got.
Hey, let's talk about manager.
It's a bit early for that, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. It's been
King Roy, mate. King Roy. We still got King Roy, mate. We still got King Roy. You got them.
He's only here for a year. He's only here for 1 more year. Am I wrong? Didn't you sign a 1-year contract? So what about for next year?
Yeah, but Patrick, we don't do these things. We don't do that here. we don't prepare here. We turn up at the last minute.
Oh, sorry.
We're on deadline day right now, Patrick. We're on deadline day.
Come on, Patrick, man. You know how we do things here.
Talking about the striker, we're on deadline day. Talking about the striker that we should have probably bought about like 2 windows ago. But it relates. Yeah, what manager?
But it relates. Though. I mean, that manager managed both Balogun and Ekitike. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Maybe that's what we're doing. Maybe we're trying to get him to come in to get Will Still to come next year as like a little
Well, he's gone to Monaco now. He's gone to Monaco. So
did he? Who did?
Not Will Still. He means Balogun.
No, Balogun, Will Still.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about Will Still, mate.
Well,
I know Balogun's gone.
So what's happened to? I mean, we're gonna go back to Palace chat just quickly. I mean, we got 3 hours to talk about Palace.
We got 3 hours exactly. Can we divert for a second?
He's still there.
Come on.
He's still there. He lost his undefeated streak and then
exactly.
Sort of stumbled into Europe.
Yeah, it went a bit quiet. Like the hype was there. Like remember when he's unbeaten and it was like every other game.
The hype.
People would just talk about him.
They're in third. They're in third this season. They're in third. What do you mean the hype?
Wow, they're third. After 3 games, congratulations,
bro. They're ahead of PSG
right now.
They're ahead of PSG in the table. You don't rate
PSG sold everybody. PSG sold everybody. Don't worry about it.
That's the problem, you don't know ball. I don't know why I even have to talk to you about football. You don't know anything about it.
Patrick, according to my watch, me and you's got another 40 minutes with each other, you know.
Yeah,
so carry on. I'll be on to you.
We're only 18 minutes in. We're only 18 minutes in.
Do you know why? Do you know why he does that? No, it's not breaking out. That was confirmed. He's going to Celta Vigo, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's not. It hasn't happened officially yet. Not from what I've seen.
The only reason, right? I'm just going to lay this out, right? The only reason why Patrick's always having a go at me is because I remind him of the younger him, just a little bit more handsome.
You know what's mad as well? Look, we're going to talk about Palace's outgoings next, because I'll be honest, this window we haven't really talked about outgoings at Palace. We've always been about incomings, and we haven't really talked about the business and some of the players that have actually left the club. Is the fact that there's a young striker from PSG who's clearly highly rated, that he's been forcing a move to Crystal Palace. I find that wild. I don't know why. I still find that a bit crazy, because you don't really hear that. I mean, PSG were angry with him due to the fact that he went behind their back to try and force a move to Palace. Like, what other player do you hear wanting to force a move from PSG to Palace? It doesn't really happen often. I'm a bit shocked about that. I just want it to happen. We're
massive, mate. We're massive. Palace are massive.
Well, after all of this, if he ends up going West Ham, then that means nothing. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah, we have to somehow find that money from somewhere, and we'll see. Maybe PSG just want to get rid of him. Maybe we get a deal on a cheaper deal, or they're happy with a loan, because the reports earlier were suggesting that PSG did not want to loan him out. So, I mean, let's see.
But it's loan to buy though, so they know they're going to get the money anyway.
I don't know. Maybe something to do with FFP, but yeah, look, West Ham are involved, so let's not get too.
Patrick, can't you email your boy Daddy Texer, man? Tell him to sort something out.
I think he's done with sorting us out.
He's busy winning titles in other clubs, mate. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, rolls. Yeah, sorry about that. But I'll put a word in for you.
Please do. Tell him it's urgent.
Yeah, literally. He's got an hour and a half to reply. because literally you can't reply at 11. So yeah, hour and a half to reply. So we have to get him on here sooner rather than later. But let's talk about outgoings, and then we talked about incomings as well. So outgoings. Look, we'll talk about the players that have actually left the club so far. So James MacArthur, Jack Butland, Wilfried Zaha, and also Luka Milivojevic. AJ, for you, in terms of the outgoings in this window, have you been surprised by the lack of them? Of course, you didn't hear what I said, AJ, did you? Have you been surprised about the lack of outgoings? So the outgoings so far this window have been Zaha, Luka, MacArthur, Jack Butland. There hasn't been that many. Have you been surprised that one of the big players haven't left? And also, have you been happy with the players that have left as well in terms of age, experience, and moving them on after their deals expired?
Do you know what? Obviously, the Zaha one kind of hurt at the time, but none of them have gone on to do anything outstanding so far. Granted, it's very, very early in the season, so they still need time to gel into their teams. I mean, I don't think Wilf's even been that fit at Galatasaray, to be fair, to even really do anything yet. But he's going to be playing Champions League football, so is what it is. I think I was very happy to let these players go as long as we replaced them, or we at least made progressive ways to fill in those holes in the team. So, I mean, the thing is, with our star players in the team, it seems that we've at least been wise enough to turn around to these clubs or bigger clubs and say, listen, we're happy to sell, but you got to sell at our price. And, at the end of the day, you got to bring your big balls to the table when these big boy teams come calling. We need to, take a leaf out of the other mid-table teams. And, when clubs do come calling for our star players, pay the money. Obviously, Olise was quite a surprise in terms, because we thought that was, me included, I thought that was pretty much good to go, but obviously ended up signing a new deal. We've had interest for Gay, Anderson, and Decore. Looks like they're not going anywhere. They look like they're going to stay and be part of the project or the process or whatever it is where we're building or cooking. So in all fairness, man, I feel like we've done all right. I mean, there wasn't any other players in the squad, that I was going to sort of sit there and highlight to sell, maybe barring Mateta. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon. So I'm all for it, man. It's, there's not much I would change to the team. Our team's not big enough for us to have a ton of outgoings anyway. So, we got to box a little bit clever and make sure that we're getting in the right, numbers first before we start entertaining letting our players go.
Yeah. Patrick, look, you've been a massive person in terms of asking for Mateta out of the club. Of course, he's now staying at Palace. What have you made of Mateta staying at Palace? Because he's been wanting to leave. Have you been upset? Have you been surprised by Mateta not getting moved on in this window?
Who said he wanted to leave? You said he wanted to leave? Or Alan Nixon said he wanted to leave?
Well, reports were suggesting that
he
wanted to leave.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
It's funny. Reports about Guaita were true because Hodgson came out and said it. I never heard Hodgson once say that Mateta wanted to leave or that he asked to leave. So I'm not buying he wanted to leave. So I have no problem with him staying. Again, I want him to stay just because you guys, especially you, D, have such a thing for him. Your head's going to explode one day with Mateta. So I watched your stream yesterday. It was great. I loved it. It was great. I want him to stay just to annoy you. He ain't gonna annoy me. Because whether he scores goals, doesn't play, I decided that it doesn't bother me.
It will annoy you. It will annoy you.
No, it won't. No, when he scores, I'm reminded that he scored. That's all. No, it won't bother me at all. At all. I'll remind you every time when he scores that he scores big goals for Palace, unlike other players on our team. And that's all I'm going to say. So I'm not worried.
Yeah. I mean, every 6 months.
Yeah.
I'll take the reminder.
I'll
take the reminder every 6 months.
I want him to stay just to punish you because you can't stand the guy. And it's really funny because he wears red and blue and you hate the guy, which is a very...
I don't hate the guy. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, but all right. No.
So aggressive. Let me speak. Let me finish. Because people... I yell. I have to yell because I have to stop D from talking over me. So I'm not yelling, people in the chat. I'm not yelling. It's weird that the guy wears the Palace colors, but you seem to have an issue with him. You're passive aggressive. You say you like him, but then you make these comments by him, negative comments by him all the time. It's passive aggressive. I studied psychology in college. I know what it is. It's okay. You don't like him. I wish you just come out and say it though. It would be better for you and the rest of us to know you don't like the guy. And we all know you prefer Edward, which is fine. I got no issue with that. You can prefer whatever you want. You don't like the guy. When he scores, it bothers you. It bothers you. Because
No,
the
it
guy got a
doesn't.
hat
No,
trick the other
it
day,
doesn't.
and you couldn't give the man credit because you go, oh, he found these levels, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. It's all right. The man's got a hat trick in the game we had to win because it's embarrassing to lose. But you found a way to make it a negative. I watched the stream, bruv. I watched it. But it's all good, bruv. It's all good. I have no problem with Teta if he stays. Hope he scores. If he don't stay and leaves, good for him. I'm not bothered either way. When he wears that Palace colors, I'm good with it. The only player I never liked for Palace was Wayne Hennessy. I always said that out loud. I don't have a problem with any other player for Palace. I did not like Wayne Hennessy because he was absolutely rubbish. For me, Mateta's not rubbish. He's not great. He may be good to you, but he's not rubbish. And I remember the Millwall goal, the Norwich goals, the Arsenal goals, the Leicester goal, and I remember those goals. I got no memories, good memories of Wayne Hennessy, not one. So I'm good with the man. The man ain't got nothing bad today. He may not be a 20-goal scorer, but me and Mateta, we good. So, guys, you're retort.
Okay, I get where you're coming from, but I think it's a bit harsh to say that I have been hating on Mateta because let's be real, he's not good enough.
That's
for the
my
Premier
opinion,
League.
though.
He isn't. He's a cult hero. He's a cult hero. He's scored some massive goals, and no one has disagreed with you on that. But I'm going to ask you this question in this stream right now. Are you telling me Mateta is good enough for the Premier League? And I'll ask another question for our other striker as well. But is a yes or no? Is Mateta good enough for us in the Premier League for what we want to achieve? From what you've seen from him so far. Remember, Mateta's been with us on loan as well. And I said this when we signed him on a permanent deal. I said that I wasn't too sure. We was here on a transfer deadline day special when we made his deal a permanent one. And I said, did we rush into the deal? And I still have to look. He scored some massive goals. There's nothing wrong about his fee because we got him for a reasonable price tag. But I still feel like we can improve. So let me ask you this question, Patrick: Is Mateta still good? Is Mateta good for Palace for what they want to achieve?
So let's just throw a few names out at you. All right, Shamak, Jerome, Sonogo, Gale, Adebayor.
But that doesn't reason Mateta.
Is he much worse than those guys?
Shamak, but we're talking about 2013, Patrick. We're talking 10 years later now. That show is done. It's 10 years later.
I just named some of our Premier League strikers not for Arsenal, for Crystal Palace. So I'm asking you, is he much worse than those players, or is he about the same?
Hold on, Shamak was. Hold up, remember at the time Shamak didn't score goals, but he was fantastic for us. So you can have that debate about Mateta's goals versus Shamak's excellence. No, Shamak was excellent for us during that team. That team wasn't great in terms of quality, but Shamak played a massive role to us. So we can't.
I love Shamak. He's a striker who didn't score goals. When Benteke stopped scoring goals, you know what you said about him? What do you say about him when you said Benteke? What do you say about him?
Because he had expectations to score goals. Shamak we didn't really have expectations back in the day. We brought Shamak to stay up. Like there wasn't any expectations. I mean, Cameron Jerome. I was happy with Cameron Jerome just running. That was the bare minimum that I was looking for, and we managed to stay up with these players, like doing the basics of running, of trying. But we've gone 10 years forward, and now we know we've been in the Premier League long enough. So I'm asking this question: Is Mateta, based on all the strikers that you've seen, not just at Palace, in the Premier League, is he good enough to take us to the next level?
I'm not comparing him to other strikers. I'm comparing him for Crystal Palace, who are going to finish 12th, 13th. He is just fine. We have not pushed on. Had we were actually a top 10 pushing team, I would say you're right, you're wrong. For Crystal Palace in 2023, he is exactly where we are because our club has not pushed forward. You're doing a stream now complaining about lack of signings, especially in the forward areas. You asked me about Mateta, if he's good enough after just got a hat trick. Yes, he is for what we're trying to do now. But right now, I mean, how could you say no? We're Crystal Palace. We're not Arsenal. We're not.
Yeah, but then
we're not Man United.
Okay, all right. Then Iheanacho, for example, for let's say £80 million, I still feel like he can offer more in terms of his overall game than Mateta. The problem that I have with Mateta and Edouard. But this is a debate. This is the debate.
No. That's what you want to have. Let me just stop you for a second. Your question was, is he good enough for Palace now? For me, he is. I already said to you before, I would take Iheanacho. Remember, I said that, AJ. Didn't I just say I would take Iheanacho? I said it. You're trying to twist it around. I'm saying for Mateta right now, for Palace, what we're trying to accomplish right now, we're not going anywhere right now. If we are going to push on, of course we're better than Mateta and Edouard, but we don't. We've had discussion before. There are not strikers that we can afford to get for this particular club. There isn't. We're on the same level of a Nottingham Forest, a Bournemouth, a Sheffield United, and none of those have big-time strikers. We're not Arsenal, who have Nketiah and Jesus and just sold Balogun. We're not United, who have Martial, who's always injured. We're not Liverpool, who have Darwin Nunez. We're not Tottenham, who had Harry Kane. And right now, by the way, Tottenham don't have a striker. So for right now, it's the best we're going to get. Now, could another striker do better, like a younger one? Of course, I assume they would. But for pass right now, I don't know what you guys want from this guy to do. I really don't know what you want. He hasn't started a game this season, except for the cup game. He scored 3 goals. So I don't understand what you want the guy to do. You're saying, well, that's an aberration. Maybe that's what he needs to kick on. It's happened to players in the past. I'm not saying that he will kick on. I'm saying he could. Maybe he found something, and not his level, but maybe he actually found something in that Plymouth game. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the service is better. Maybe Roy's playing, a different formation that works for him. Maybe Eze had become this great Tasman assist player, and he'll find him every minute. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But my point is, to argue about Mateta good enough for our club, we're Crystal Palace. Right now, we can't do better. If we could, D and AJ, we would have spent 40 million on someone this window. We obviously don't think we didn't. We spent 20 million on a goalkeeper that we didn't really need. So for me, right now, Mateta is fine. Would I prefer Iheanacho? 100%. But he's not coming. Would I like to get how you say them again? Ekitike?
Yeah, Ekitike, yeah.
Would I prefer to get him in? 100%. Younger, quicker, better profile, probably a better goal scorer. Even though the record doesn't really show up, but probably a better goal scorer. But again, I don't get the whole negative about Mateta. He's not Harry Kane. I get that, but we're Crystal Palace. We're talking to Dan Potts before about about how Rob Holding is an Arsenal player, but he's now he's a good level for Crystal Palace. Would you not agree with that? He is, because he was on Arsenal team last year that finished second. Now he can come to the Palace team that are going to hopefully fight for mid-table, hopefully a little higher. But that's what happens. Players come to Palace because they're Palace players. Mateta's here for a reason. He's a Palace level player. Holding, Palace level player. Lerma, Palace level player. Corey, Palace level player. Olise will probably go on to great team. Right now, he's a Palace level player.
No, Olise is higher than Palace level.
Negativity about him, huh?
Yeah, we have got players that are higher than Palace level. Eze is higher, Gay is higher, Anderson's higher. Based on the level that you set, we have got players that are higher than Palace level, in my opinion, anyways.
And when they are, well, they're not now, D. They're not now. When they leave, they'll be higher. They're not now. They're not higher. If they were high, they'd be gone.
So Patrick,
well, we stopped them.
I've just listened to everything you said, right? And a lot of it does make sense to me. So what about in the scenario which we've had over the past few weeks, where we've had the opportunity to sell Mateta and actually get a bit of value back on him?
I don't think that's been true. I think that's just paper talk. Because I think if we could, we probably would have sold him. I really think we would have sold him. I think if we thought we could do better, I don't think Dougie and Parrish are that stupid. They thought they can get some money from him and get a better player, they would have done it. I think they feel like, right now, he's the best value we have. That's why the whole clue about the contract age, I think it was just a bunch of rubbish. Did he sign the contract today? Anybody heard about the contract today? Right? No, nothing, right? Because that's the people putting out there that just nonsense. I don't believe that he was going to sign a new contract. He just signed a year ago, 2 years ago, to like a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
Value of him. No, so
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's other players to talk about. Yeah, there's other players to talk about with the outgoings as well. And one of them is Vicente Guaita. And the latest that we're seeing is that he is undergoing medicals before signing a contract for Celta Vigo. There's even a video of him at the airport, or I think at the training grounds. I think, that might be the training ground. So Vicente Guaita is already over in Spain, ready to undergo medicals. So talking about players that are leaving the club. What do you make of the Vicente situation, AJ? Because I know you have to head off in about a few minutes' time.
I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. I mean, he was a great, he was, up until very recent times, he was a good professional. He always represented the club in a great way. I was actually very privileged to bump into him and actually have a proper conversation with him in a work setting. And he came across like the most chilled, nicest guy ever. Like every interview I've ever seen him in, and every time I've seen even Palace TV content about him, he's just come across as one of the nicest, most humblest teammates ever. And then just to see the way that he's just tarnished his legacy over, he could have potentially got that moved anyway. Like, I don't understand why he had to do it that way. I just feel a little bit disrespected. And I just feel like I mean, heartbroken's a bit strong, but I just feel disappointed.
Yeah, Patrick, look, we was having that discussion earlier on about, Vicente, could he be leaving? And you wasn't you wanted to see how he plays out because of him not being in an American tour. You thought maybe an injury. Has this impacted the way that you view Vicente? Because for me, I'll be honest, I couldn't wait for him to leave because I genuinely don't. Well, I get the fuss, but I just think it's piss poor from him. All them Eagle tweets I was putting out, all this, I'm an Eagle, I love Palace and all of that. As soon as Sam Johnson became number one, he started crying about it. And look at him now, forcing to move away from the club after signing a new deal. So for me, I think that was, that's ruined how I view Vicente. Yes, it was great for Palace in terms of his shot stopping and the impact that he had, but I just see it as fake. I'm going to be totally raw. I just see it as fake. I just feel like he was a great PR merchant, and clearly, if he really loved Palace, as he tweeted about it 24/7 about every other rumor, he wouldn't have done what he's doing right now. But where do you stand with Vicente's situation and what's happened this summer?
So I made my comments prior to Hodgson making the I guess it wasn't a press, he had an interview and he mentioned about how Guaita refused to train. So after that, I was I'm with AJ. I'm disappointed. I'm not upset. I'm disappointed. He came up to me also as a really good guy, performed for us whenever we needed him to. I'm just disappointed in it. And I think there's still more to the story. I don't know what's going on behind, but if he's leaving, he's leaving. I'm just disappointed. I'm not upset. I'm not mad at him. I don't think he's fake. You could take that viewpoint. That's fine. I think he was generally happy to be a Palace player. The stuff that happened after was a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. The tweets, whatever you guys told me was out there, but I'm disappointed in it. I just think it's ended really poorly, and it forced our hand again. Because if that didn't happen, we never would have spent 20 million on Henderson, obviously. So that just really hurt us in the transfer window. But I'm not mad at him. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie to him. I'm honest. If I don't like it, I'll tell you. I didn't like Hennessy. If it was Hennessy, I would be laughing right now and saying, "Thank God he's leaving," and this is like I paid him to leave. I liked Vicente, I really did. So I don't have any animosity towards it. I'm sorry, I just don't. But it's disappointing, and that's how we are.
I would have loved us to get Hennessy right now in the last few hours just to see your reaction to it as like a third choice goalkeeper. That would have been absolutely hilarious. But AJ, I know you have to head off, bro. Maybe we'll catch up with you again a bit later on down the show. But yeah, thanks for coming on anyways.
Right, I'm off to Biggin Hill Airport. I'm gonna go pick up my man. Go pick up Hugo and bring him down to Sellers, mate. Tell Steve to get a blower, mate. I'm on the way.
Go on.
Hey, bro.
Go on, Patrick.
I'm making plans for December, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm standing right next to you, bro. Remember that. My seat's next to you, bro. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person.
I'm gonna call the security, mate. I'm telling you, I'm not having it. I'm like, keep that man away from me. He's a threat. Listen to his accent. Like, there's something going on here. All right, boys. I'll be in a bit. I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, take care, bro. See you later. All right, then we're going to have more people joining us as the show's going on. At around 9 p.m., we're going to have Hambo. That should be fun. He used to be like my football dad, and then he just left me. But yeah, we'll talk to him and we'll answer why he left me and then all of that. And also T will be joining us later.
Why you left him?
Well, he left me. I mean, he just.
I'm not sure about that part. We'll get clarification later on.
We'll get clarification later on anyways. Exactly. But are you surprised about Vicente leaving on a free? Look, it seems like we're not getting anything out of this. It's like contract terminated. I guess it makes sense, right? Yeah. 36 years old, goalkeeper who's not going to get any minutes. So I guess it's mutual terminations, right? But as you said, Patrick, you made a very good point though. If he wasn't to leave, that 15 to 20 million pound on Dean Henderson, we probably could have spent it elsewhere and we might have got that striker.
Yep.
So look, if you add that up as well, that's what I'm thinking about when I talk about Vicente. Like, yes, I think he's absolutely hurt us in that aspect. Yes, I get it. Sam Johnson might have got number one, but it's cost us about 15, 20 million pounds. And it might cost us a striker if you don't get a striker in. I mean, there's not that long left till the window is shut. Right now, we still haven't got an update on the striker. The latest that we've had is that Palace are speaking to Hugo Ekitike. Hopefully I pronounced it right. And not only Palace, West Ham are as well. PSG, Palace, West Ham, all on the table. Let's see who wins that battle. But if we don't get a striker in, and then we spent 50 million pounds on Dean Henderson because Vicente wanted to leave, then that doesn't help our scenario. But with other outgoings, Patrick, have you been surprised that some players have stayed on and maybe you would have expected them to move on, such as Jairo Riedewald?
again, talking about the left back position, I think that though that he doesn't want to play there, he's probably one of our best options. I also like him as a midfield option, especially now that Will Hughes is out. Perfect example is obviously the midweek match against Plymouth. We wanted to rest Decore and Eze. Gyro was the perfect way to step in there. If not, would have been a youth player. So I got no problem with Gyro being him. I want him to get some more playing time. He really hasn't played a lot in the last year or so. But no, I'm not surprised Gyro didn't leave. I want to go back to one other person I thought should have left, but before this season, that's James Tompkins. We gave him a 1-year contract. Strange, but I get like he's a veteran. But at that time, he didn't have a manager. We gave him a 1-year extension, fine, like we did to Guaita. But we could have we had O'Brien in the work. Could have gave him a contract. He's 20-something years old. Could have been a backup. We had Chris Richards, obviously, and now we're going to Rob Holding. So that's the only one I thought would probably leave would have been Tompkins. Everyone else that either left or could have left. I don't really think it's a surprise, honestly. And one thing, going back to Guaita.
Yeah.
Going back to Guaita real quick. I know what you're saying as far as the money, but again, he wasn't he has a 1-year contract. We got him on a free. It's the situation that has to end. It's deadline day. Just get rid. You know what I mean? There's no point in like trying to get some money out of. Where did you go? Celta Vigo, you said? You went to, is that where you went to?
Yeah, Celta Vigo, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Celta Vigo. So yeah, he's headed over to Celta Vigo. But look, we're 41 minutes into the 3-hour stream. So far, we've got 80 likes. Not 80, 70 likes. Let's try and hit 100 as soon as possible. There's over 150 people here. It helps the algorithm and it helps the channel grow as well. So it takes a second of your time, people. And subscribe if you haven't already done so as well. Let's see if there's any other updates on our striker situation. So West Ham have reactivated the track leading to the PSG striker. The Hammers wanted to offer a paid loan of 5 million euros plus an option to buy of 30 million euros. Paris have refused that offer. That is the latest. So West Ham tried to do something similar to what Palace tried to do with a loan, with an option to buy, but PSG have refused it. So let's see what Palace are going to say now. It's interesting. It's like back and forward, Patrick. It's like a boxing match. But look, they've been persistent on not loaning him out. Look, option to buy 30 million euros. It sounds, well, from based on reports, sounds similar to what Palace wanted to offer for him, and PSG refused it for West Ham as well. So let's see if Palace can have a better offer for him going forward. Look, you mentioned Gyro. You mentioned a few other players there as well that stayed at Palace, but for me, look, Tompkins, we've got some professionals in the squad that we need. You have to balance the experience with younger players as well. Tompkins is an experienced player to keep him there, yep. But not this window, but next summer window when we're doing the transfer deadline day show. I think there are still a few that needs to go. For you, in terms of players that we need to move on from, who would you like to see next on your list out of off the top of your head? Who do you think that we need to move on from to improve the squad and potentially bring in more quality than what we have currently?
So before we do that, you talked about we needed veterans in the squad, right? Because that's why we signed Tompkins. We haven't had Sam Johnston, Joel Ward, Jordan Ayew, Jeffrey Schlupp, Nathaniel Klein, Will Hughes. We have Jairo Udivard. We have guys who've been in the Premier League upwards of 7-8 years. To me, Tompkins made no sense. I get having, you didn't need to sign him back. Especially once you signed Ward and Klein back, you didn't need to sign him, but that's fine. As far as players to leave next year, Klein for sure. Tompkins, I already mentioned. Gyro, I can't see him staying another season, basically not playing. Did we sign Schlupp is Schlupp end of this year or not?
One more year, but I just don't see him leaving. Knowing Palace, he will probably be here forever. So yeah, I would forget about that. And I think he's a good squad player. I think he's a good squad player, anyways. Not as a starter, but I could see him staying as a good, as a squad player coming off the bench if we want to use him for that, anyways.
Yeah. So then we're looking at just probably Klein, because Ward's going to say he's the captain. Klein, Tompkins, and Jai will be the three I would say probably won't be here next season as far as the veteran players are. Those three.
Yeah. So look, that's the outgoings. I mean, it's good to talk about the outgoings, of course, because we haven't really been mentioning them as much because everything happened earlier on in the window. Luke is, of course, gone. Mac is gone. And we're slowly trying to freshen up the squad. But as you said, Patrick, there's maybe one or two pros or senior pros that we could have potentially moved on from in this window, which we haven't done so far. So we're going to have to wait for another season, basically. But look, of course, losing Wilf wasn't easy. It's not going to be easy. But then again, I'll be honest, we haven't really talked about him as much, maybe because the results haven't been as bad, and we've actually had a decent, start to the season. But yeah, he's excited. He's going to be playing Champions League football. He's going to come back to the UK to face Man United. Galatasaray have United in their group. Who else do they have? You probably know, Patrick. You're the biggest fan now.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my phone. I'm sorry, what did you say? What was the question?
Galatasaray. No, I was talking about with Wilf. He's gone to Galatasaray with Champions League. He's going to be playing Champions League football. They have United. Do you know who else they have?
Wait a minute. Biggest fan now. Are you saying that Galatasaray are actually in Champions League when you said they weren't going to make it? Is that what you're saying? Wolves playing Champions League?
No. I said 3 or 4 games because that's pretty.
I'm shocked. No. I'm pretty sure.
No, I mean,
I'm going to find it.
They're not going to make it out of the group.
Don't cut me off. I never said that. No, don't cut me off. Well, I said, but I'm pretty sure we were talking during the preliminary. You said you weren't going to get into the knockout stage or the group stage. I know you said that. I'm going to find it on the stream that you said it.
No, come out of the group stage. Yeah, come out of the group. I never said there were.
No, you said get to the group stage. You said get to.
No, maybe you understood me wrong, but I said come out of the group stage. I don't think they will come out of the group stage. But anyways, look, he's in the Champions League.
I don't think they will either. I don't think they will either.
Yeah,
they don't have to.
They never
really
do. Yeah, they never really do.
Can I ask you a question? Who are Fenerbahce playing in the Champions League?
So 8 out of 8 unbeaten, and no one
Champions
in Champions
League.
But then
Champions
again,
League.
No. All right, cool. We'll see what happens.
You
know what would be absolutely hilarious? I would love it. I would absolutely love it if Wilf go in to Turkey to join Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, after not winning the league since 2014, end up winning the league. That would be the best thing ever. That would genuinely be the best thing ever. But yeah.
What does that comment mean?
What's going on?
What does that mean? What am I ruining?
I don't know.
What's he talking about?
I genuinely don't know.
Or she?
I don't know. I just maybe they just need to relax for a bit. So put them in timeout. But yeah, let's just relax for a bit, people. Yeah, because let's all be respectful here. But yeah. Let's talk about. Okay, I'm going to link Hambo in just a second. Yeah, look, we'll see what happens. Best of luck to him. He's going to face United, and they've got a decent squad, to be fair. But yeah, it would just be hilarious if they don't win the league, especially over there. So with incomings, Patrick, let's talk about incomings so far this window as well. Look, as I mentioned, we started. There's a lot of places to talk about. Dean Henderson, Holding, we already spoke about him. Lerma, what have we made of Lerma's start to Palace career so far? Because we all, expected him to be decent, but we didn't I didn't anyways, expect him to be this good in the air. And he's fitted in with Decore fantastically.
He's been great. He's been the perfect foil for Decore. He gets by the pitch very well. Passing much better than I expected. Defensively, been very good. So no, I think he's been the perfect sign for us so far, and the Corey's benefited from him, and so has the whole team benefited from having him on the pitch so much. So yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, 100%. I agree as well. Look, with Matthias França, how do you see his future at Palace? Because remember, when he joined, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You're right here, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't really expect him to have a major role at Palace. But yeah, how do you see França coming into the side, or do you see it happening as soon as he comes back from injury, or do you think this season is going to be like more settling in and just easing his way into Palace? How do you see that signing? Because of course it's hard to judge it yet, but it seems exciting on paper. Then again, we don't know when he'll be back. So what do you make of now that you've had a bit of time to think about it? Do you understand the move in terms of especially forward players, lack of forward players that we've got? That you could come into the side and fill that gap that maybe Wolf left?
Yeah, I don't know anything about. I told you that I'm being honest. I don't know anything about him as a player. Honestly, I know he was in the Brazil under 20 side that played in the World Cup. I don't know anything about him. Honestly, I don't know what the injury is. I don't know what the prognosis is. I heard Roy mention it again today about having another scan. But I don't know anything about him as a player. I'm excited about him because of the fact that, one, obviously, when a Brazilian player signs for your club, you're going to get excited. So that makes sense. The whole Ballon d'Or clause, whatever it is, whether it's to be nominated or win it, is also why we put that in if he wasn't a good player. But I'm not excited, D. I don't know anything about the player, so I can't say anything. So
It just feels weird to have a Palace player, but let me go. We'll talk about it in just a second. Before I miss this super chat as well from Joe Knight. Thank you. Cheers for your work this window back with the Nest crew. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you to every single one of you who's been tuning in to these shows. But look, the shows are still going to go on after today. Of course, you know how it works in the transfer business. There's talks about January straight away. As soon as the summer's over, January starts. So we'll still be doing the live Palace news videos as normal as well. But yeah, France are, I agree. But look, keeping Olise as well was massive this window, Patrick.
Yeah.
And I think it shows that even though we can talk about lack of ambition, which you can have that debate, especially with me if you don't bring in another striker. I wouldn't say lack of ambition, maybe lack of. We will talk about recruitment because I want to talk about recruitment because I've gave a lot of praise to Dougie. But yeah, there is some questions about it if we don't get a striker in. But keeping Olise, that was the big statement so far this window, right? Regardless of all the signings that we made, Olise basically, from what we know, rejecting Chelsea and saying that I want to stay at Palace and signing a 4-year deal. That is massive. That I'm sorry, but that was like the massive. I'll never forget that moment. I think that moment won't ever be topped. The fact that I was literally driving back and then all I start hearing is Olise staying. There's a photo posted. See Parish post a photo. Olise also shares the photo as well. That was like the biggest thing this window to keep Olise. And I guess we'll see the impact as soon as he comes back from injury. Because remember, last year, 11 assists.
No, I agree. I didn't even tell you the story. When I the day he signed, I was driving up to Vermont with my wife, and I had to have her take my phone from me because I kept looking at my phone as I was driving, which you never want to do, obviously, on the highway. And I was totally, I was shocked, but I was so excited. And then you guys in our chat were putting in a bunch of comments about it, and I was like, wow. And I couldn't. My wife was typing. I would like dictate my wife, say this, say that, because I couldn't. She getting excited. I couldn't. I was like, type this in, type that in. So no, 100% D. That was the biggest thing. And what I really liked about it was I mentioned that before about the butterfly effect or knock-on effect. For me, though we haven't done a great job with the transfer window, then we end up, right now keeping Eze, keeping Decore, keeping Gehi, keeping as all of them were linked to bigger clubs. You know what I mean? And by signing Olise, they said to the rest of them, you know what? We're keeping Michael. Hopefully we'll keep you Ebbs. We'll keep you, Joe. We'll keep you Mark. You know what I mean? Just from that standpoint, I think it meant a lot. So no, I think the Olise signing, we can kind of add that to the window. It's not technically, we're going to say it's not like a new signing, but for Palace, it really is like a new signing because we lose him, we're in the mud. We're just in the mud. We are in the mud. I mean, so no, I think the
lack of creativity.
I think that's exactly. I mean, you could just tell. I mean, listen, I didn't get to see the Plymouth game. I was away again. I was on another one of my golfing excursions in the Ozarks in Missouri, but I did listen to the game, and clearly we lacked creativity in the first half. But as soon as Eze came on, and to give them credit, Ayew and Schlupp, because they all had assists. As soon as they came on, our creativity level raised. But again, it's all about Eze. I mean, Eze, if he's on point, it's great. But we all know that at some point he needs help, and that's hopefully going to Olise. And again, I don't know anything about France. Hopefully it's going to be France too. And maybe, listen, Jordan Ives got 3 assists so far this season in 4 games. I think it's 3, right? In 4. He keeps that up, man. That's going to be production we weren't expecting. So that'd be great.
Exactly, he's been fantastic. But look, people, we're on 90 likes already, and we've got 7 minutes till we're here hour into the stream. Let's see if we can get 100. Let's see if we can get 100 before the 7 minutes is complete. Look who is here, my football dad. Literally, right. Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad.
It feels weird, Dad.
Yeah,
are you ill?
Yeah. I'm a little bit unwell. Yeah, but I just had to come on here today. No, nice. Do you know what I caught a terrible illness on my travels to I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Scotland. It's
yeah, I've been there.
Yes.
I actually haven't been there. No, I've heard of it. I lied. I've never been to Scotland.
No, you've never been there.
I don't know why I just said I've been to Scotland. I've never been. I've been close to it. I've been in Newcastle, but yeah.
Full of lies. No, it's a lot like here, but they speak differently. Oh, you'd love it, DR. The food, But I picked up a little bug.
Yeah, how you been though? How you been? I know you've been avoiding me for ages.
I have been avoiding you. Like, I mean, look, part of it is because every time I appear on this, you try and hide the videos that I appear on, and like
that is such a lie.
you know,
that is such a lie. I never do that. I've never ever done that. I don't even have the time to do that. Patrick can back me up. Like I'm so busy, either editing, doing this, like preparing, messaging.
I know.
Like, I
listen,
genuinely don't have the time to do that.
I know you're very successful now, and we're all really proud of you, DR. It's a long way from that kid who lost his shoe on a podcast once, you know. And now
no one needs to know that. There's a lot of new people here. You don't have to bring up the past. I mean, you're ruining it for me. But look, let's talk about Palace. Let's talk about Palace, Hambo.
Yeah.
It feels weird, doesn't it? The fact that I'm here. Normally, you used to be the host, and now you're joining.
Yeah. Well,
joining me. It feels weird.
I am.
Do you want to be the host
of one of?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. For podcast, but not for the here.
Thanks.
You go top left.
Right
exactly.
Spot, yeah.
Exactly.
So listen, welcome, guys. Thank you to my channel. Thank you for coming to my channel. I've already messed up.
No, exactly.
We all know what Back of the Nest is. It's my thing.
Yeah.
And this, I have to point this way there.
Yeah.
Okay, what?
The
Grand fromage. It means the big cheese.
Oh, the big cheese. What are we talking about cheese? What's cheesy?
Have we got time for this, Patrick, to explain to him what a big cheese is? Do you think?
No, we've got time for it. But before we actually
left for this, go.
Before we go ahead with that, Hambo, let's quickly ask you about your thoughts on transfer window so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to be too frustrated because we've made. I mean, Henderson is a great signing if you need a goalkeeper, and obviously with Guaita quite likely to end up at Celta Vigo. And not wanting to play for the club. I see that we needed one, but it's a big sum of money. And I think it kind of highlights what one of my issues with Palace and their transfer business at times, and that's that we really want to target players that have a resale value or longevity, or we're getting a good deal. And sometimes it feels like maybe we've forgotten to think about the positions we actually need players in. And I know there's been lots of people talking like that in that kind of theme in general. A lot of frustration when we signed Henderson, saying that what's the point when we need a right back, and there's no right back coming anytime soon. But you know what? It is a tough market. We have got limited funds, and you have to look for the deals that you can do, I guess. And I don't know if is anything's been happening in the time that I took to go and make some chicken for dinner. But basically, last I heard, we're quite close on Holding, which is an interesting one. Didn't think we potentially needed to prioritize. I mean, I guess you can fill in at right back, but you know what I mean. It's
no, it's not right.
Doesn't really get the juices running, and But obviously, and I don't know. I've never said his name out loud, but Hugo Ekitike.
Yeah, trust me, I butchered his name. I butchered a lot of names, but this one is hard for everyone. Literally, I said Hugo Ekitike. Like, I don't know.
Okay,
like,
that's what I've said. That could be it.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Have you discussed that his surname is a palindrome?
No, I haven't discussed that. I didn't even know that was the case. But yeah.
No, Patrick, you are. Is he all right? There he is. Hi, Patrick, you okay? Look like you deactivated for a second there. Have you been excited by the fact that we've been linked with a striker whose surname is a palindrome?
I thought someone put that
anybody
in the chat.
excited?
No, look, if we get him, then I'll be excited. But at this point, I'm not excited about names. I just need action.
Just let me help you out, dear. It's the same spelled forwards as it is backwards. Have a look at it now. It's exciting. I'm telling you.
That's a palindrome.
It's the best thing we're going to get.
Means.
Yeah.
Oh my, you're right. What the flip?
Yeah, I know. So enjoy that for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, I never realized that. But look, with him, the latest is that West Ham tried a similar bit to Palace, based on reports anyways, that they tried to offer a loan fee of around 5 million euros plus an option to buy 30 million euros, and PSG rejected it. So West Ham are in the race as well as Palace, but it seems like it's only going to be a permanent transfer, which Hambo, when you talk about the signings that we've made, especially with Henderson, 15 plus 5, that's the reported figures that's been out there. I just don't see us having the money to spend it on a striker. And that's what makes me kind of question what we prioritize this window, whether it was right or not. Look, I get with the goalkeeper situation. I think what Vicente done was outright wrong. And I've said it before, for me, he's done. Like, he shouldn't have left Palace like this. It was a bit childish how we done it. But yeah, that's my opinion, anyways. But for you, if you don't bring in a striker, which we've known that we've needed for ages, does that change your whole perspective on the window, despite the quality business that we've done?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, if you look at being linked with the French striker, we're going to not butcher his name too much. If we look at that link, you know, sometimes as a club you find the money because there's a potential, you know, to make some big money there if you get a deal done at the right level. I mean, look at obviously the signings of like the likes of Olise and Eze in recent times. That's the club's, you know, aim when they're bringing in players. Bring them in young with real potential, develop them. And if it's the same principle there, even though you're signing the guy from PSG and it's going to cost, if the cost is still relatively low for the potential, you know, the club will probably take that risk, and that money will come from somewhere or be borrowed from some source. You know, and on the basis that you'll be able to pay it back. So I wouldn't completely rule us out, but I do think, you know, we are shopping at a different supermarket to a lot of clubs. And you mentioned West Ham there, the money that they brought in from the Rice sale alone, you know, completely changes the equation really, because they can go and spend if they need to spend, whereas we've got to be absolutely sure. And the truth is, it does change the perception of the window for me if we don't sign a striker. You know, Mateta scoring a hat-trick against Plymouth doesn't change the struggles he's had at Premier League level. You know, Edouard, you know, playing a little bit better, you know, improving, getting a bit more up to the pace of the Premier League doesn't mean he's going to score 20 goals this season. You know what I mean? So there does need to be something in there and something different. And can you look at the deals that other people are doing around today? And you know, you got Hudson-Odoi going to Forest. You think, okay, well,
for £3 million. That's what you think. Yeah, like maybe we could be all over that. Like it's £3 million, I mean, but the wages it might be a problem. But yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. We could have potentially got other players.
Yeah, there's doubts in there, and look, it's been a weirdly quiet one as well, isn't it? That's the thing. You feel like there's probably a lot of late business to go. You know, and there was crazy links over the last sort of week or so. What was it? Sydney Van Hooijdonk I saw linked at one point. That's
shows how
he's a Palace fan. Is he?
He's a Palace fan. Yeah, apparently. So he's a Palace fan. So you don't know nowadays, but from what I've read is I don't know if it's true, but he watched the Palace versus Liverpool game back in 2014, and he's been a fan ever since then. You don't really hear that many professional footballers being Palace fans. So I'll spend £4 million just for that. You know,
it's damn right.
£4 million. Might as well, because you can't really lose out. He's only £4 million on a Palace fan. Might as well.
I know, yeah. Well, that's an interesting one. I remember his dad playing and going on strike, playing for Forest. Pierre played for Celtic as well. He was a decent player, but very, very, odd. That period where he refused to play, a bit like Guaita's doing. But anyway, like that, as much as making me feel old, that was a bit of a link out of left wing. And then I don't know. I've sort of like, if you just go through the list on the message board of people we're linked to and things like that, it's been this ever increasing, you know, selection of players. Sinistero at Leeds, wasn't it? We were linked to quite heavily. I think that's just gone quiet. Daka at Leicester. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what's happened with Daka, but yeah.
No, and it's just and obviously Inacho was really loud for the last couple of days, and seen nothing more on that. So, you know, I think again, without picking out too many names or anything like that, I think those who know what goes on at Palace, you know, it looks like all of our eggs in that are in that Hugo Ekitike basket. You know, right now we're trying to get that deal done. It might have already fallen apart, and for all we know, and maybe
I'm laughing because you pronounce the name like 5 times. Every single time you pronounce it differently. So I wonder which one.
Yeah,
one of them must be right.
Next time.
Yeah. One of them will be right. What did I call Wan-Bissaka back in the day? I used to call him something else. Do you remember?
Wan-Bissaka or something like that?
Yes, I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, something crazy like that. But look, there's over 180 people here. Let's try reach 150 likes. We're on 110, so let's smash the like button, people. And if you're new here, also subscribe. Thank you for your support as always. Patrick, you know what's funny? When I talk about Mateta, you put your chair forward and you have a response ready. But when Hammer mentioned Mateta, you just silent there. You didn't have no response for the Mateta talk.
No,
that Hammer.
I actually wanted you to give him the same question you gave me about our strikers. I'd like you to ask Hammer the same question. I want to hear his response.
I've been asking questions for the past hour. What question was it? I can't remember.
The one about you said that you didn't think that Mateta, we should be doing better than Mateta at this stage, and I named you.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Shamak, Jerome, Sonogo, Gail, Adebayo, etc. Saying my point being that they were very similar levels, where Palace were not Liverpool, or Arsenal. So you're saying he's not a Palace striker, and I'm saying to you, well, who's a Palace striker?
Okay, so for me, Hamburg can respond to it. But for me, look, with Mateta's situation, we'll move on from it because there's a lot more to talk about than Jan-Philippe Mateta. But look, he scored some massive goals for us. I think he will leave Palace as a cult hero if he was to leave, which ain't going to happen. But I want more from a striker because when he doesn't score goals, there isn't much to his game. He's about 6 foot and you can't jump for a header. I think that's just pathetic.
Agree. And
there's no link-up play game to him. So, yes, he does score the occasional goals, and that's fantastic. But if he didn't have them occasional massive goals, you would be, of course, he has scored it, but he'd be down there as a very bad striker because he offers nothing else. And Edouard's situation, for example, Edouard this season, so far from the start of the season anyways, he's been a bit more involved. I've liked his link-up play, and his body language seems on point. For me, a Palace striker is not a striker that scores 15, 20 goals because I don't think that's realistic. A Palace striker is a striker that can score goals, but he has good link-up play. He can bring others into the game. With the strikers that we've got right now, especially with Mateta, I don't think he can do that. That's why I think we've been linked with the likes of Iheanacho, Che Adams, because those players can offer something a bit more than just score goals. That's how I see it. But Hambo, where do you, come with this debate?
Yeah. It's a really good question, and it is something you can kind of endlessly debate because I suppose the first question comes as to what system are you going to play, and that's where it goes so far beyond the strikers. The strikers we have in terms of Edouard and Mateta, to play in the system that we currently use under Roy and what we were using at the back end of last year, they don't have enough. Okay, they don't have enough about their game in terms of mobility, in terms of hold-up play, in terms of really taking their chances when they get them and manufacturing something out of nothing. Because that's the way we play. The squad that we have, the depth that we have, means that we need players to create out of nothing. We've relied on Zaha for years doing that. We don't have that anymore. So that's why the likes of Edouard, who is a decent striker, and Mateta, who is a decent striker, they're not quite enough to lead the line and be that kind of focal point for our attacks. And that's why we share the goals around a lot. So there's nothing wrong with that. If you accept that that's your lot as a club, if you accept that our squad has to share goals around, they're going to come from different sources, and, it's going to be an ever-changing cycle of average strikers who aren't going to get you 15 to 20, like you say, that's okay. If that's the way that we're going to have to do things, right? If you're looking for somebody to take us onto that next level that people talk about, we have got to get that step up. We've got to get somebody who's got more mobility and can do it on their own. If they're stuck up front and we've got, the other 9 outfield players behind the ball because we're playing a bigger club or whatever, you need someone who's going to run all game, run those channels. And a few people I know said it in the chat saying we haven't had a great striker in years, but you think about the ones we have had, and I'll go, I'd say obviously AJ, Chris Armstrong, Ian Wright, Mark Bright, those types of players, right? We don't get them often. We really don't, and it's going to be really, really hard to unearth one. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, Hambo speaks a lot of sense. I wish you had him on a bit more often.
I agree with that, but what you missed from all that, and Hambo, that was great. Twice, he said Mateta's a decent striker, and so is Edouard. You've never said that about him, D. That's my only point. Chris was very fair with the assessment just now. I agree, but he said they were both decent strikers, and that's a very fair comment. That's all I'm saying. All I'm trying to say.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
Okay.
It's debatable, but I can't.
It's fine. Of course, it's debatable. It's fine.
Yeah. I just want my striker to offer something a bit more. But there's a massive update, people, on our striker that we couldn't pronounce, on Hugo Ekitike. I think that's the last time I'm going to say his name. The deal is off. PSG are saying that he's staying at PSG despite interest from West Ham and Palace. Both English clubs have offered loans refusal of PSG, who favoured a sale. So the striker situation is off, which is absolutely terrible. I'm going to try remain calm. I might lose it in about few minutes. But yeah, look, we're going to end this window without improving our striker position, which we've known that we've needed at the start of last season. But we've signed Rob Holding and we signed another goalkeeper, whereas we haven't signed another striker. So can someone speak a bit of sense into why that hasn't happened? Can someone try to enlighten me on why it's a good thing as well? Like why should I remain calm that we've left it till deadline day, the last 2 hours, when we've had two months. We've had 2 months to sign a striker, and right now we're talking about a deal being off because PSG, who never wanted to loan him out, are still refusing to loan him out. So explain to me why I should be okay with that. Because I back Dougie a lot. I back the recruitment team a lot. But you have to raise questions about, prioritizing the positions that we need to actually strengthen, because they've found some fantastic gems for us. Eze, Gehi, Decore, Anderson, Olise. Like, the business that they have done at times has been fantastic. But replacing players or improving players that we need to prioritize, there's question marks about that. Wan-Bissaka's one, and now the striker situation. But I'll leave the floor over to you, Hambo. What do you make of this deal being off?
Look, I mean, it's always a danger, isn't it? And that's why you have to have multiple deals lined up. And the question is, we have a saying where I work, which is, if you're going to fail quickly. Like, don't invest tons of time and money in a project knowing you're going to fail, right? So fail quickly and move on to the next thing. The question is, have we failed quick enough today to move on to another target? We know we had other targets in mind. We know we had Iheanacho in mind as one. Going back a little bit, Che Adams was under consideration as well. Is there absolutely any hope of going back in for any of those? And is it worth it at this late stage? Do you get him back in contact with Leicester now and say, hey, we can we have Iheanacho now? They're going to go, well, we ain't got time to replace him, so it's going to cost you an extra 2 million, even though he's out of contract next year, that kind of stuff. So look, there could still be deals to be done out there, but people were going to have to move quick, and there's not long left. So, it's kind of hope more than anything right now. So if it doesn't happen, if nothing happens and the right deal isn't there, those at the club will say, no point doing a deal if it's not the right deal. But as fans, does that wash? It shouldn't. We shouldn't accept it. We shouldn't accept that the squad that Roy described today as being quite happy with the squad. I can't believe that. I honestly can't. I think he's been shafted, to say the least, with what he's been given. But he said he was happy. But he's not going to be happy if we get 2 or 3 injuries to defenders, because he's going to have nothing.
Not defenders, I think forwards.
2 midfielders
forwards,
injured.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, forwards. Yeah. We've already got nothing, is what I'm saying. Like, he's already waiting for exactly. Francis to get fit. It's just pointless. Pointless talking about forwards right now. But like, if you have that forward situation doesn't resolve itself, and you end up losing a couple of defenders, you've got nothing at both ends of the pitch, and very, very quickly, those results go against you, and it can snowball, and you can end up in real trouble. And I think, we are a little tiny bit of bad luck away from being in real trouble if we don't strengthen further in this window. And look at our performance in recent mid-season windows as well. We haven't done great business recently because it's not a buyer's market at that time, so we avoid it, and it'll cost us if we're not careful. That's all I'm going to say.
So let's talk about Doug Freeman and Seapash. There's been a lot of talks about them in the past in this window. Some people don't want Seapash to stay at the club. Others are saying he's done a fantastic job. So when we talk about transfers this window, I mean, we've made some very good signings, but again, it's the positions that we need to strengthen. I'll ask you this, Patrick, because me and you gone back and forward about our business. I've said that we've done some fantastic business, but you have disagreed with me in the past. Exactly, you can say exactly how you feel, but you said that we could have done always a bit more. Look, I've said we signed Eze, Gehi, Anderson, the players that I've listed about 2 minutes ago, and I think Dougie has done a very good job finding them. But you said that you can't compare us to the likes of Brighton. So if you don't bring in another striker, who do you think the blame should fall upon? Is it both of them? Is it one of them? Like, how do you see this situation about the forwards?
No. So just to clarify, I've never said that I have an issue with Dougie. I think Dougie does a great job of recruiting and even unearthing players like Olise, Gehi, Ahamada. But as I've said when Vieira got fired, I have an issue with Parish now because Parish is the one that seems to be holding the club back. Clearly, Textor wants to push us on. He's made comments about it, been very open about it in his interview about the fact that he wanted to get more involved and hasn't been able to. And Parish is the one holding us back. But I get it. And I mean, Tim's probably in the chat, and Tim's point is always well taken about, the financial part of it. We can't overspend, and I get all that. But to go into this window here and not get that striker is scary. I mean, we lost our best ever player in Wilf. We didn't replace him. You could tell me Francis is a replacement, but I've never seen him kick a ball. He hasn't trained with us yet, and neither Roy hasn't seen him play. Roy said today, I haven't seen him play.
Yeah.
So the fact
he hasn't really seen him,
the fact that the manager hasn't seen him play, no one's seen him play. He's like a figment of everybody's imagination. So that's
I don't think he's seen him.
Me.
Full stop. I don't know if he met.
Right.
I don't know.
He's seen him in the medical office. I'm sure he's probably seen him in the medical office and seen him walking back and back, back forth. So that's my issue. And then last year, my issue was with everyone because that first window we signed with Vieira was there. We signed John Stone, we signed Eboué, we signed Plange, and we signed Decore. And thankfully, Decore came, great signing. And then we needed another midfielder to help Decore out. We never did that. We waited till the winter window. Last deadline day, we got Lokonga and Ahamada. Ahamada doesn't play once Roy signed. He played the last game for 8 minutes. Lokonga, who we signed and played a little bit and did a little bit better, didn't play. Fine, alone. He's gone to Luton today, I found out. I'm watching TV now. He's in the stands. He's going to go to Luton. But the windows last year were both horrendous. We didn't back Vieira. We're not backing Roy. I don't understand what's going on. I mean, some of the signs, again, have been decent. Have been good. But we sign players we don't need. In position we don't need. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So, but like I told you, I'm not gonna come on here and get all upset about it anymore because I did that. I did that a lot last season, and I can't put my energy into it. I hope we do well. I'm not hopeful, but we're gonna finish where we always finish, around 12th, 13th. I'm not enthusiastic about that. Being a supporter of Palace for as long as I've been, that doesn't make me happy. I want to see something tangent. I want a cup, not a cup on run. I want an actual cup. And not as you said, the damn pot, the Zenith Data Systems Cup, the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup is a real cup for me. I respect the Zenith Data Systems Cup, trust me, I do, but it's not a real trophy. It doesn't get you into Europe. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
That's what I wanted to see. And
I don't know.
It is a real trophy. Hambo?
I was there, Patrick, when Jeff Thomas lifted the Zenith Data
it.
Systems Cup. We've it's a glorious thing. And we played an Everton side that day. Robert Warzicher, Robert Warzicher. We had to play against him, and we still won that trophy.
But yeah, where do you stand with? Because look, Patrick's not happy with Parish for the reasons that he's listed. Where do you stand with this ownership, Dougie, Parish, Textor? It's been a bit crazy. I mean, Textor came out, what was it, like last month, with an interview with the Athletic, saying how he doesn't know if he'll stay at Palace in the long-term future. He regrets, giving Parish the power. Look, we're talking about the ownership here more than the transfers, but of course, if you're not signing a striker, people are going to talk about the people, that's the decision makers, and going to question them rightfully. So who do you think is at fault, or maybe could have done a bit better?
Yeah. Look, I think we've got every right to ask questions. I don't think we should ever try to lose that sense of realism that we've had. We had that in the past. It stood us in good stead for a long time as a club. And, it's hard when other clubs are, putting together models that allow them to spend huge sums of money. They've got significant backing. We have backing, we have wealth in, behind our club, but we have people who are, generally speaking, invested in a sustainable football club with a model that is developing players, selling players, funding the infrastructure of the club. It's a slow burn, and it's, I think they view it as relatively low risk in comparison to other strategies. But to me, it's a massive risk because, the squad can break up and you can just drop down the leagues. We've seen it happen with clubs, and it's really hard to get back. There are probably a lot of people watching this who don't even remember the Championship and how hard it is to get out of that league. And it's 10 times worse than it was when we last got out of it now, probably worse than that. So for me, it is actually quite a terrifying prospect that the club would just take its eye off the ball, not sign the right players, not invest, and then then fall down. But everybody at the club stands to lose from that. I think Textor has made a really interesting point. He's just come in and seems to want to do the same thing that lots of people are doing at football clubs these days, which is creating that network of football clubs that gives you security and wealth and sharing a talent. It doesn't necessarily feel right, like especially in this country. There's a lot of people who have, just instinctively are against a multi-club model and instinctively think it cheapens the whole thing, and it should be one club and one club's your focus. But we can all spend other people's money, can't we? And but Textor strikes me as somebody who has a plan. And unfortunately, Palace hasn't quite lived up to the expectation of the Premier League club in that plan. And I think part of me really would like to see what would happen if we just said, you know what, John, go for it. You've just put, have the courage of your convictions. We'll let you do it. We'll give you the power that you want. Just go for it. And let's take a risk. A little bit like Patrick.
Why do you think they're doing that?
Right? Because
why do you think they're not doing that, Hambo? Sorry to cut you off. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Because I think the risk is too high. And I think people think it's foolish. And we've seen the club nearly go out of existence before. And that leaves a real, it's a scar. It's a scar on people like Steve Parish who love the football club. Because he does love Crystal Palace. And he's got carries those scars of administration like we all do, and we all experienced it, and we all came so close to losing the club. So that's why, and it's a massive risk, because if the investment comes and it's delivered and it fails, you can be on the hook for all sorts of money. Your whole team can be disintegrated anyway. So, I think the problem comes with us as fans. Patrick will back me up here. When we see an opportunity. Like there's an opportunity. You think about Wilf leaving, but having Olise and having Eze and having, young players coming through because we developed that academy, which again, credit to Parish and the vision they had there, right? But we've got an opportunity if we supplement that exciting bunch of players with real quality, but we're not doing it. And it's going to cost us. Eze will go. Olise will go. And those are two absolute shining lights. Mark Gay will go. Tyreek Mitchell will go. Those players.
Do you think that needs to happen though, Hambo? Do you think that needs to happen for us to progress? Look at Declan Rice. West Ham sold Declan Rice to Arsenal for about £100 million, and now they're happy with the business that they've done. They brought in some quality players from abroad. Do you think we're reaching that stage now where we're going to have to sell some of these top talent players, even though we don't want to be able to invest into the squad? Because if you want to be sustainable, if you want to be less risky, then that's the only other option that we have, I guess. But we still spend a bit of money in this window. Let's be honest. France sold for 20 million euros or 25 million euros. Dean Henderson, 15, 20. So there's been money spent. Rob Holding for, if you add it up, it's not like we haven't spent anything. But I guess if we want to improve the squad overall, then maybe that's what we need to do. The frustrating thing is we're not far away from a very good 11. We just need, I think, a striker, a new right back, and wouldn't say another left back, but depth for left back position. But we're about two positions away. So I'd have liked us to actually strengthen those positions and go for it to see what the squad can actually achieve. But maybe time is running out.
But the truth is, it's a real short answer to your question of are we getting to that point where we're going to have to sell those players? The short answer is yes, we are. And it's not necessarily about finance either. It's because they'll want to go. You can already see it. You can already see Gay will want to go because he's an England international centre back. He wants to start every game for England. Teams are interested in him. Spurs long-term interest. Chelsea, got an eye on their old player there as well, and others are looking at him. That's going to happen. If not some point before the end of this season, it'll happen next year. Eze is actually, we forget he's 25. I think just broken into the England squad. He wants to stay there. Of course he does. Is he going to stay there playing at Palace, who were kicking around sort of 14th to 12th in the league? Probably not. Probably not going to stay there and play every week. Look at Maddison since he moved to Spurs, outstanding for them. So he's going to see that. And you can't blame him. Olise is already gone, really. I think we'll probably get one more year out of him because, the big clubs are circling and pushing, and we had to work really hard. Fantastic. We get another year out of him. And we'll get good money at the end of that, but he'll go.
So quickly, another update is going crazy. We're about 20 likes away from 150. So make sure to hit the like button. Let's reach 150 likes as soon as possible. People will be smashing it tonight. But Alan Myers Media, who has about 82k followers on Twitter, has just said the following: that Crystal Palace are close to signing Ekitike. So we've heard one report from France saying that the deal is off, and another following that saying that we are close to signing him. At this point, people, this is fun. This is fun. Hopefully, Alan Myers is true. I'd never heard of Alan Myers before. He sounds like a game character rather than a real human being. But look, he has 82,000 followers on Twitter. Let's see if Alan Myers is true. He's saying we are close to signing him. But look, it doesn't seem like a fake account. I mean, you don't get Michael Bridge following you, Fabrizio Romano, Gary Traphouse, and everyone else following this account if it's a fake account. So he has got a lot of followers, very reputable sources that follow him as well. And, you know, apparently we're very close. Well, not very, sorry, close to signing him. So I guess time will tell. We got an hour or so left, hour and a half. Go on, Patrick.
So just going back, piggybacking on what Hambo said, I think that's my biggest issue. I mean, everybody got excited about Olise signing, and I was too, but I know he's only here for another season. And the opportunity is there now for people like him, as a Gahey Anderson, to do something at Palace. Declan Rice did something at West Ham. He lifted the Conference League Cup trophy. You know, we've never done that in our. He was time for him to leave. Perfect timing. He did what he wanted to do at West Ham. Left with a trophy. Great, move on. They got the money. They rebuilt perfectly. We don't have the opportunity. And if we sell Olise for 80 million and Eze for 75, 150 million next season, what have they left and got? They've got nothing. So, I mean, that's the issue. And the second issue to me, honestly, guys, is the Brighton issue. Brighton have made us look like total. Sorry, something.
I'm not laughing at you. No, I wasn't laughing at you. But I was looking at no. There's breaking news. I need to go speak to. Sorry to cut you off. Fraser Fletcher from the BBC News has just said Palace are closing in on a deal for Hugo Ekitike as first called by Alan Myers. So BBC, Sky Sports are now saying that we're closing in on a deal after literally 20 minutes ago saying that the deal is over. So I guess time will tell. BBC versus Sky. So it's England versus France right now. We'll see who's right about this. But yes. So there's another report suggesting that we are close to signing the striker. Yeah.
You're just going to pretend we didn't hear that noise. You live above a shop.
No. It's just, I don't know why, but we have a donkey as our doorbell. So it doesn't help. But yeah, it's a donkey sound. It's meant to be a donkey, but it's gone a bit out of tune. But yeah, that's why I was laughing, by the way, Patrick. Not because of
No. I knew enough for me, but I didn't want to not have you break your news. I know there was news coming on. I didn't want to. I like the doorbell. So Fraser, too. I was kind of amused by that. So.
Yeah. That's what put me off as well, because I looked at Hamber's face and I could see him smiling. But look, Fraser Fletcher hold up. So he just said another thing. He said nothing done yet. He says understand terms not quite agreed between clubs, but close. Crystal Palace are closing in. Let's see vital moments. So it's not agreed yet, but Fraser Fletcher from the BBC is saying. Well, former BBC saying that we are closing in on him, and Alan Myers from Sky Sports also said something similar along the way. So let's see, people. Let's see. The next hour and a half is actually going to be exciting because I'll be honest, on previous deadline day shows, we haven't had this much excitement. We talked about Mateta signing on a permanent deal and Hamada, which has been good, but I mean, we need a forward and we got an hour and a half. Let's see if we can get the deal done. But sorry, Patrick, what was you saying before I cut you off?
No, my only point was, like I said, it's just the frustration is obviously the inevitable Brighton comparison. They're going out and signing Ansu Fati, a former Barcelona, current Barcelona player on loan, and they're in Europe. And we like to compare ourselves to them because they're our rival. They're not, it's a rivalry. It's not, it's not a derby. It's a rivalry. And to see them push on, lose their manager, get a better manager in, lose. God, if I named the players they have sold and the money they've made in the last year, Cucurella, McAllister, Mopey, obviously Caicedo, it's ridiculous. And they've replaced everyone within like a week, or they already had a player already on loan somewhere else. It's amazing. So that's the frustration with Palace, is that I love the club to death. I just do. I've loved the club over 50. I love the club. But our lack of planning in what has been our best 11 years or so is scary, and we could have pushed on, and we haven't. But again, as I always say, we live in hope. You know, as long as we live, we have hope. So hopefully, something will get better. Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Brighton model, if you like. Sorry, DR, did you have something to say? I was just going to.
No. You can go. So I got another update from it could be from Fabrizio Romano. Let me just double check. No, I haven't got it. Go ahead. I'll try and find more stuff.
Alan Nixon.
Well, I wasn't going to say what Rubber Band Man has just said. I wasn't going to say that, but there's an interesting. So a lot of people
you can't get the words out of your mouth, can you?
Know this
you can't say that. Come
know
on,
this already about Brighton. No way. But they do have an advantage. They're a little bit like a few other clubs who have links to betting, gambling ownership.
Yes,
they have lots of data models where they have a hell of a lot of information, and they get to keep it to themselves as well. You know, they got their own sort of multi-tiered system where they have scouts examining every intricate detail of football all over the world. So when you have that data model that comes with your ownership, which is what they do, and make the use of it that they do, it comes for a very, very impressive performance when it comes to lining up your players and building for the future. So they've done a really good job to take the advantage that they have naturally. Now, look, you can obviously look at that particular practice as unethical if you want. If you're not a big fan of gambling and what it means and all that kind of stuff, you could suggest that is a pretty unethical way to build your football club. Build it on a mountain of debt and then take advantage of gambling data models. Not sure I'd want to stand behind that, but then you can kind of examine every football club and you probably find something like that behind it. But we are behind in terms of the data analytics. We're behind in terms of the scouting and all that they have, and we are actually playing. We're playing catch up like a lot of people. Some people have taken the attitude of, well, we just buy their players, give them hundreds of millions of pounds for their players, and that way we'll get the benefit of their data models. We can't do that, right? So we got to do our own thing, and that's a real long-term plan we got to have. So I'm not mad at the club for falling behind there.
Yeah, so I've actually got a here we go, and that is from me, not Fabrizio Romano. We're about 7 likes away from 150, so we can reach we're reaching.
Let's go. Here we go. Let's go.
Exactly. Here we go to 150 likes. But talking about Fabrizio Romano, he has also gave us an update. I believe he's streaming right now on Kick, and he said the following: that Crystal Palace is still working on Hugo, Ekitike. Let's see if they can agree. Deal with PSG, Ekitike, and Crystal Palace is one to watch in the final hours, people. So potentially we can have two here we go. Once we reach 150 likes and once we sign him as well. But look, time is running out. Maybe Patrick is watching the stream. After all that we said about him, don't text and stuff, he thought, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's just go for it. Maybe he's watching the stream and maybe he's trying to get the deal done. But if we get the deal done, then that's funny. That's how football is. If we get this deal done, then I think the whole narrative about this window changes. I think it's a fantastic window. We signed a striker. We got a goalkeeper. We got a backup defender. We bought another midfielder. Bought a young player in France. I kept Olise. But then again, if you don't sign a striker, yes, the other things are still there. But then you haven't signed the main position that you was after when you went into the window. So one position can change the whole thing in this whole transfer window. So let's see if we can actually pull it through. Rubber Band Man says football analytic. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, do you remember when we got this excited about signing Michy Batshuayi and he was terrible?
Potentially, but I trust
the second time.
But
the second time, yeah. First time we did all right. Yeah.
Second, yeah.
It was linked with Forest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that will happen. Do you remember when we got this excited about signing Nicola Ventola and he was injured all season?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've
way before Twitter or bulletin boards back then. Yeah, the good old days for modern technology.
Yeah. So look, we've kicked on from them days. I mean, Batshuayi is in Turkey playing for Fenerbahce. He was linked with Forest, but he's doing well out there.
Fenerbahce, you say?
Yeah, he is.
Really, Fenerbahce.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he is. He's not playing for.
Big fan. Are you a big fan?
Well, I'll say one thing. Well, I'll say he's not playing like for Galatasaray like Wilf, but Wilf ain't even really playing there. But yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. So please sign a backup left back. Says Seek. Yeah, look, honestly, just give me the striker. I'll be happy with that. Forget about backup left back. Now's not the time for that. I know we had a whole window to talk about that, but now it's just get the striker business done, and I'm pretty sure we'll get sorted like that as well. Bring back Teletext, says AJ. Amber, that's
yes,
during
AJ.
your time.
Old school.
Your time,
yes,
no?
Teletext was during my time. I used to watch full matches on Teletext, and I'm sure loads of people in the chat did as well. Those were the days. Page 302 you started, and then
I thought he was about to
304.
I thought he was about to say page 3, and then I was like, where's he going with that? Then he said 302.
No,
something
like, that's
you're watching the wrong
very
thing.
different times.
I was like, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if he was watching football, but if he was on that thing,
young
but
man.
yeah.
Come on.
Tim saying, come on, AJ Kubai, working in the background for us at PSG. Hopefully that's the case. But yeah, people, we are closing in. Yeah, go on.
Can I pick out Oyster Sides, who said, I remember being excited by Brolin. We all were until we received a Brolin who'd clearly eaten another Thomas Brolin beforehand. He was huge, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Then he retired to be a goalkeeper /poker player. So good
he retired to be a goalie.
Yeah,
I remember him at the World Cup when he scored that goal and he put his hand up and he spins around in the air. I mean, the guy was a brilliant player, and then he comes to Palace.
And then he comes to Palace.
That's it. That little his whole existence. He was playing for Parma, wasn't he? But his whole existence was based on that one outside of the foot finish. It was a beautiful goal, and then
great goal.
And after that, he ate a lot and went to Leeds, then went to Palace, and then just suddenly went, oh, I'm going to Jimmy Kebe it. And
he was our assistant manager, wasn't he? Under assistant player manager, right?
He
was, yeah. Lombardo was the player
under
manager.
Lombardo,
assistant player manager. Basically as a translator. I think that was what they said.
Translator, exactly, from Italian into English.
Yeah, come to think of it, when we start talking about stuff like this, it just reminds me we are actually in a bit of a better place as a football player.
No,
exactly. We moan about it, but my God.
That's not in doubt. It's not about that we're not in a good place. I think if anybody says that, they're really being disingenuous and not being fair. It's just that we could be in a better place. I think, again, I'm not doubting that. These 10 years have been the best. 11, I'm going to count the promotion year because that was massive to get here. But there's no doubt this is the best time. But when you think of, well, you're here now, what more can you do? And why aren't you pushing on? That's the frustrating part. The fact that we're here for 10 years in the Premier League and we have the squad we have and the players we have. No. Don't think I don't appreciate that because I really do. I think everybody on this show does. And to say you don't would be a little silly. But again, it's just that there's the opportunity there that I think we're missing. That's what frustrates me.
Yeah. So there's over 200 people watching us live, 225. I know we can hit 200 likes. We smashed 153 now. So yeah, 200 likes to get this deal done. Exactly. See, Paris is watching it. He told me that if we get 200 likes, I'm gonna get the deal done. That's what he told me. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, smash likes and also subscribe if you're new here to non-sound future Palace content as well. We've been killing it tonight with some very good comments and discussion points as well. Robert Bandman says maybe Parish and Dougie are just wait for Chelsea to get hit by FFP so they can buy their players at a discount. There's lots of ifs and buts with football, but yeah, I guess time will tell. I don't think that's the case.
There is almost certainly going to be a Chelsea discount store sale at some point,
Yeah.
I don't know who will be in it, but yeah, I mean, they clearly can't get away with that level of spending if they don't somehow balance it out, and that's the trick, I guess.
Yeah, let's look. There's a question here from Mark. Whilst we wait the latest on Ekitike, I've probably pronounced it differently every single time I've said it. Do you think Francois and Eze will take turns on the left wing? I don't think. Well, Eze has been drifting out wide in a few games for Palace already this season, especially against Brentford in the second half, and it kind of worked because we saw Schlupp go through the middle and start creating more chances. But Hambo, can you see France and Eze rotating down the left? Well, France is a bit hard because we haven't seen him play, and also at Flamingo, he didn't really have a set position. He was playing as like a number 10. He was playing down the right-hand side, down the left as well. So I think we got him based on the ability that he has, and we're going to try to make him the finished product. I don't think he's a finished product yet, but where do you stand with this?
Yeah, I think we'll see him play across the forward line in different places, but I do think his future is probably. Well, I think we are trying to line him up probably as the ultimately an Eze or Olise replacement in a couple of years, probably. But playing him out on that left is not going to be a weird thing to do, given his skill set. He's quite physical, quite quick, likes to dribble with the ball. He's not really going to matter what side he's playing on, really. But we have no idea like how long it's going to take. But before we even see him, we keep getting talked about, it's going to be a scan at the end of this week. Actually, it's a scan at the end of next week, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
It's one of those things that worries me a little bit. It's been a little bit of an odd one. He's got a stress injury apparently, which we don't know where that injury is. So some talk of it being in his back, and those things can take a long time to heal. I'm sure he'll be okay, and I'm sure he'll be in and around the team fairly soon. But I don't think we can start thinking like that. I think the interesting part on that left wing discussion, what we learned against Brentford was, we had been playing a 4-2-3-1, right, which was different to last year. And Schlupp had been playing out on the left in a 4-2-3-1 and has been ineffective pretty much all season. The second we changed the 4-3-3 we used last year against Brentford, we were a different team. It's a bit of a waste of Eze to put him out there, but you can't play Jeffrey Schlupp out there. For whatever reason, there's only one place to play him, and that's in the centre of midfield. It seems insane to say it, and it seems crazy to me personally that we haven't got a better option there. But it is what it is. I think it really does just emphasise the point we need more options in those forward positions. França will be somebody who plays and makes a big impact soon, but we cannot be pinning our hopes on him turning things around in terms of our forward play.
Yeah, very good point. Patrick, where do you stand with it? Look, let's talk about Jeffrey Schlupp a bit. I mean, it's not what you expect on transfer deadline day, but now that we're here, and Amber mentioned Schlupp, I feel like he has a role in this Palace side, but he can't be down the left-hand side. I think his role at best is coming off the bench when the game is maybe opening up, using his pace, which you can make the argument, has he got his pace? Has it gone a bit slower? That's debatable. But yeah, I think he's a bench player at best. But do you understand why Roy has been selecting him? Because I mean, we haven't really got options on the left-hand side, and that's why I would have liked Callum Hudson-Odoi for about £3 million. Because yes, he hasn't really kicked on, and he has had a bit of hurdles along the way, but he's still a young player that we could have, developed for literally for peanuts. £3 million in today's market is absolutely nothing. Of course, you have his wages, which you have to consider. But do you understand, with Schlupp, why Roy's been using him down there? And do you think that will stop as we have players coming back from injury, especially Olise, if not França?
Can I ask you a question? Why are your questions always so long?
He learned from me, I think.
Yeah,
right. No,
I don't know, right? I don't know.
Questions in one. So there's a Hudson-Odoi part in there. I'm pretty sure once the Olise deal
that wasn't a question. That was a statement.
No, you made a comment about him in there though. There was something about Hudson-Odoi about him being on the left side, right? So I'm gonna let me just take apart that part. He was never coming to Palace once the Olise deal fell through. We're not dealing with Chelsea ever again. Clearly, we're not going to deal with them, and nor should we. So that's that. But as far as Schlupp's role, I like what Hamber said about the 4-3-3. That's the formation we need to start using more often. And I don't think in a 4-3-3 Schlupp works as a winger or an attacking play. He had to play in the midfield. You saw how effective he was in the second half versus Brentford when he was in the full with alongside Doucouré and Lerma. That's where he belongs. Now, should he start? No, I'm with you on that. He shouldn't be starting. He should be coming off the bench. He brings energy. He's a veteran. He can see out a game. Handball loves to talk about he doesn't really run, so maybe he's better off in 50-minute spurts than 90-minute spurts. I mean, he doesn't put himself back the pitch a lot. So, but yeah, I think he has a role in the squad, but I don't think he should be starting. But having said all of that, I know, Hambo knows that Roy loves him. As long as he can run and he's healthy, he's going to start.
You see Paddy's comments.
And by the way,
Paddy's comments on him after dinner.
I'm not going to change, but thank you, Mad Paul Starling. Love that name, by the way, Mad Paul.
I disagree with you there, Patrick. I disagree with you there because I do think
About
when
what?
Olise comes back from injury, he's not always going to start. I disagree. When Olise comes back from injury, he's going to be benched. It's going to be Ayew, Olise, and Edward. He's not going to start. But yeah,
I hope you're right.
Hambo, what was you talking about with Paddy's comments?
I was just saying, Paddy made some comments after the Plymouth game. Said that he'd had a word with Schlupp after the turnaround, and said that you ain't going to get appreciated for the difference you made, but you were sensational. And I'm like, I liked that Paddy said that, all right, because you should be backing your players, and Schlupp isn't going to get a lot of the love. If he puts the ball in the net like he does occasionally, he does get plenty of attention and love, but the kind of closing down he does, the work he puts in defensively does often go unnoticed, including by me, because I'm not a big fan of his. I do sometimes miss the things that he does do. I kind of understand that, but for me, I think we're all waiting for him to be replaced, and I'll be honest, I've been waiting for him to be replaced for 3 years, and I just feel like whenever I wonder if I'm being harsh, I try to imagine what would happen if you said to the rest of the Premier League, you can have Jeffrey Schlupp for like, £1 million, but the condition is, in fact, you can have him for free. The condition is you play him in central midfield and he plays every game for you. Who's going to say yes? I'm not saying that's something that would happen. It's just my thought experiment to decide if I'm being harsh. And I start to think, I go through the clubs.
Not only
who
him
would
though,
say,
Hambo.
yeah. No, I think that about our
right
back.
back.
I think that about Joe Ward.
Yeah.
I'm like, have a right back. You can have our right back for nothing, but he has to play every game. And who would take us up on that? And that sounds like a really horrible and mean-spirited thing to say, but it's a thought experiment. It's not. It doesn't mean I don't think that Joel Ward or Jeffrey Schlupp can play in the Premier League. They can. They're actually very, very good footballers, very, very efficient players. But we do need to replace them.
Yeah.
But Hambo, that's an excellent point about who would have them. But I can't do it now because I'm not going to go through every team's squad. But I can guarantee you at every club at our level, there's a Jeffrey Schlupp and a Joel Ward. I can guarantee you that. And if we had a fan from that club, they would say the same thing. So that's what's so funny about football, that every club at our level, I'm not going to say Liverpool have them because they don't. They have, 11 great players, Arsenal. But like a Bournemouth will have one. Fulham probably has one. Brentford probably has one. You know what I mean? Luton definitely have probably more than one. Like, why is that guy playing for us, blah, blah, blah. But, the manager
Joe Wood
likes
will probably become the best
But
player.
it's a great point. Huh?
Yeah.
Joe Wood will probably become
Luton's
best player.
Head in the chat, by the way.
Luton's best player.
Mitch Blank is down 2-1 late. Head. He says, if you always get... Yeah, that's it. Yeah. There you go.
Go on, Amber. Read out. I don't want to...
No, I was just
that is
saying
a great point, Mitch.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's, if you always get picked because you do what the manager asks you. And
yeah,
I know for an absolute fact from a few years back, I know that Schlupp is one of those players, and that is one of those players that gets the instructions, and he
I have to stop you there,
literally to the letter.
Sorry, I have to stop you there. What? Okay, what's his instructions?
We don't know.
I mean, to my guess would be occupy that space and jog around.
Jokes aside, though. Jokes aside, I genuinely I'm not trying to just pick him on purpose, but even against Brentford, especially in the first half, he had 17 touches, or I think 17 touches. Edward had 12 in the first half. And what is his role? I don't know it. Off the ball and on the ball, I don't know his role. Off the ball, I saw Edward pressing. I saw Eze, Ayew pressing. When he came down to his side, it seemed like Brentford were just able to beat that press. On the ball, I don't know what he's contributing. So without me sounding harsh, a genuine question, what is his role in this Palace side? Because I don't know. I'm not even lying. I don't know what he's asked to do for him to be selected.
I think it's really hard. You've got to separate this season a little bit because, he's been subbed in every game, isn't he, this season? And I think that maybe not the first one. Was it the first one as well? I can't remember. We don't use a sub. It's been a while. I know I ranted about it. Maybe not the first one, but
the other two.
Yeah. But he's been, and first half performances from him in particular have been poor. So I do think this season it's really brought into focus that question you raised, DL, which is what the hell are the instructions? In previous years, I'd say it's actually relatively straightforward what his instructions have been most of the time. If he's playing in central midfield, he's there to shut off the sort of passing angles more than anything. If you look at the stats, he doesn't put a lot of tackles in, but he gets up and down the pitch. He's just literally occupying space, and that sounds like I'm damning him with faint praise and all that, but it is a really important part of playing in central midfield. It's making sure that you're keeping that shape and keeping compact. And his role was to break out, with the ball, carry the ball when he can, link up play when he can, especially on the left side. But I just think there's got to be better players out there to do it. But we just, in terms, actually, there's a Collis Damien who said we've had terrific value from him. I would wholeheartedly agree with that on the Schlupp conversation. For the money we actually spent on him and the time we've had with him, the number of positions he's played, 200 odd games. Yeah, we've had value for our money.
Yeah, let me quickly have an update. It's a bad one. It seems like it's from Le Quip over in France. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And it says the following. It could have been one of the most surprising transfers of the summer. Zenit arrived in the final hours with an oral proposal of 40 million euros for the striker. The discussions went no further. The striker will stay in Paris. So Ekitike is going to be staying in Paris. Apparently, Zenit wanted to bid 40 million euros, but that's not going to happen. There's an hour left in the window. Now, well, unless someone like Alan Myers, who sounds like a fictional character, comes out and says that's fake. Now that news has dropped, how do we feel about the situation? With an hour left, that's it. I guess you can't go for a striker in an hour. Yeah, we're done for. So I'll ask you, Hambo.
Yeah, it depends how long ago all that happened and how accurate it is. L'Equipe and was it RMC? I think announced it before. You would imagine that the media outlets in France are closer to it than we are. So I would be inclined to believe that that's the case. If we've left it too late to do nothing else, then ultimately this window probably goes down as a failure, and that's just the stark truth of it. Signing a keeper, bringing in Rob Holding, which is still yet to be 100% confirmed, isn't it? But signing a keeper and a centre back, it's just, it's good, sensible. They're good, sensible signings, but they don't solve us any problems. And they don't really give us any significant depth that we didn't already have. So it's an utter failure. I've noticed that Mad Paul Starlin, which is a good name, was angry that we were slandering Ward, and he's now angry that we're going to go into meltdown. I'm not going into meltdown. I'm just, this is kind of what I expected. Patrick, on the other hand, looks a little, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it just boredom, Patrick? Is it?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, what is it to talk about? What is it to worry about? Yeah.
No, I see it as, so we can talk about, Dougie's role in this, because he's the players that he's the man that we've given credit to, all the players that he's brought in. But when it comes to the striker position, I see this as a failure up front. I think this is a horrible, horrible thing to go through the summer. The fact that we had literally summer, it's not a January window. We had the whole of summer. We could have prepared for this last season. And you have to ask questions to the recruitment team. I mean, why did we leave it? I feel like we had this conversation like an hour ago, and then the deal was on, and now
we did, and that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah, but
you can yo-yo around, can't you? But
exactly until it literally turned Alan Myers. I love that name, by the way. I'm not going to go over that name. Alan Myers tweets and saying, that's BS. But yeah, look, I have to ask. I'm sorry, you might say it's meltdown, but I just have to ask questions. I can't. I just don't see how we haven't improved that position, especially based on reports that Mateta was wanted by Leipzig a few times, and it seemed like we rejected bids from Leipzig for him. And I'm wondering if go on.
I was gonna say, did you hear this? I don't know. I sort of saw it in passing today because it was a really busy day at work, and I read something that said along the lines of like after his hat trick against Plymouth, Mateta is in line for a new contract.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah, we spoke about it. We spoke about everything, Hambo. Only if you watch the streams, then you would have known. Of course, you don't. So
it's making chicken, mate. What do you want from me?
Yeah, exactly.
Hambo.
No, but yeah, go on, Patrick.
That was someone just trolling D because they know how much D loves Mateta.
No.
They were just trolling him with that news.
It was. I think it was someone from Well,
I genuinely
near to,
I saw it in an article.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching much else.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. That's what the reports are suggesting, that his deal runs out in 2026. And then after the Plymouth game, we're willing to offer him a new contract extension. I went on a rant, by the way, like sometimes by myself. I'm here half an hour. Imagine just talking to your screen. There's a lot of people in the chat, but I just talk for half an hour. I just spoke about half an hour about Mateta. And I kind of lost it because for the fact that we're given a striker that we've known that has scored massive goals for us, but we know that it's not Premier League cut. We just know that it's not Premier League cut for the reasons I've listed before. The reasons of he doesn't really offer much apart from the odd massive goal here and there, which sounds a bit crazy because he does score massive goals. But apart from that, if we bring him on the bench, more than likely he's not going to contribute much, and he's not going to have any link-up play, and not going to help the team overall. So for me, the fact that he scored a hat-trick, and we know that this player, also another thing is that this player has played for Roy before when he was in charge and didn't really get that many opportunities, and we're willing to offer him a new deal now. It makes no sense. That's why I get mad at times, because I feel like we always go for the cheaper options. Mateta, yes, he scored a hat-trick, but it doesn't mean that he should deserve another extension based on that hat-trick. Like, it's against Plymouth. Like, chill out. It's against Plymouth. Calm down. Like, so you don't have to go overboard and give someone a new deal because they scored a hat-trick against Plymouth. Like, we know about this player. We know that he's done this in the past. He scored against Millwall, massive goals. He scored against Brighton. Now he scored yes, it was a hat-trick, but I still don't understand it, if that is true anyways.
So here's a thing though, right? When you look at those goals against Plymouth, like probably, well, the second two in particular, okay, and I'm going to say this, I know it's Plymouth.
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry to cut you off, but I'm not actually trolling. Alan Myers he has tweeted, and not tweeted. Well, according to I don't know where they've got this from, but CPFC Transfer HQ has said that Alan Myers has said that it's touch and go, but they're trying. So I don't know where Alan Myers have said that, maybe on Sky Sports, but Alan Myers I don't know who Alan Myers is, but he's still convinced that it's not over. We've got an hour left to the window shots.
Next deadline day, you're going to have to get Alan Myers on. All right, that's your mission.
Yeah, exactly. I need to speak to him. Exactly. But according to Alan Myers and CPFC Transfer HQ, it seems like it's touch and go. It's still not over. We'll see. And before you continue as well, Hambo, thank you for the super chat, Ron Wilson. Really appreciate it as well. Thank you for your support. If you're enjoying the stream, if you can drop a like and subscribe, that'll be much appreciated, people, as well. Every single like matters and helps us out massively. And Hambo, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So I was just laughing at Ben's comment that Mike Myers said he's gone to West Ham. Thank you for that, Ben. that made me smile. I looked up Alan Myers, and his last message that I can see says, "I'm leaving Twitter tonight. Since 2014, it's been a huge part of my days and nights. An Everton fan." I think I've got the wrong one. So I'll move away from that just for now. Come back
looking at the Everton fan.
Yeah, so he hadn't posted in 3 years. So that's probably not him. So I'm saying, like, Mateta's finishes are the finishes of a very, very good striker of a ball, right? You can look at the keeper and say, maybe he's a bit of a suspect or whatever, but the speed at which he took him, the movement for it, it's against weak opposition. I get that. And I don't want to actually, I call them weak opposition. They're a very good team. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but weaker opposition than he faces in the Premier League every week, right? But the movement and the finish are excellent. The question really should be, like, if we are going with Mateta and Edouard, the question for Roy is, how does he get Mateta playing instinctively like that? Because most of the time when he's in a Palace shirt, he doesn't get that big. He hasn't really had a run of games, but most of the time in a Palace shirt, he's thinking too much. The ball's bouncing off him. He's not really controlling it the way he can, and then we've seen him do it. And he's not getting consistent service. He doesn't seem to know whether he's coming deep to collect the ball or running channels or a focal point up front. And I think that's the bigger problem. Put him on in a situation like we did against Plymouth. It's simple. We've got to go and score some goals. So all he needs to do as a striker coming off the bench is get in a position to score goals and have a go. That's a really simple instruction from him. And I think there's something in there. If we keep him, which it looks like we are, and we give him a contract, if we do, that's what you got to do with him. keep it simple. Don't give him too much.
Yeah,
I have a quick
agree.
update. I'm watching the Dean Henderson video from training today, and we'll use his training, so he's back.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. He's not going to be playing anyways, but it's good to have him off the bench. Because Lerma, the Korean, that's a midfield three. Come on, we surely can't change from that. Hamber, we haven't asked your thoughts on. I know you spoke about it on the pods. I've listened to the pods, but we haven't asked your thoughts here about Lerma signing. Have you been impressed so far? Because I think he's been fantastic. I've been especially surprised about how good he is in the air. I just didn't expect that part of his game. Other parts is as expected, but for you, Lerma, that's very good business. That's the thing with Palace. Like, we do some good business, but then the actual positions that we need to strengthen, we're here talking about it, and it's not done. It's just like, why don't we actually sort out what we need to sort out first, and then afterwards, look at the other positions. Lerma, we had to sort out because it was midfield, and we needed to strengthen the midfield last year. But yeah, what have you made of him?
Just confused that Patrick suddenly turned into Olise and is shushing me, but I'm going to ignore that. I really like Lerma. Like, I mean, most people do. He just feels like a Palace player, and I have he's one of those I hated every time we played against him because he just kicked everybody all game, but also had that bit of quality. So I feel like it was hard. It was going to be hard not to like him, but like you, I think I've probably been impressed more with the kind of attributes I wasn't aware of. You talk about him in the air. I just think in terms of the kind of pace he gets around and how assured he is on the ball, he's better than I thought he was. So I think that's a really good, astute signing. Obviously that midfield, you talk about Hughes not being able to get in there, but I want to see that 3-man midfield that Hodgson used back end of last year. I want to see Lerma, Doucouré with probably Hughes in there rather than Jeffrey Schlupp, and then using Eze in the front three is probably the way I would go with it, and I think we'd see we'd see some better performances.
Yeah, 100%. I think going forward now, the positions that we need to strengthen when we look at it, the right back, I think we still need to. I think Joe Wood, funny enough, Amber, I don't know what you think. He's actually not been that bad. Apart from the Brentford game, I think that was horrible defending. He's actually been relatively solid in defence, but it's just the same old, questions being asked whether we can always do better, especially with a fullback that can offer a bit more going forward. That has a bit more legs. I think that's why we need to strengthen right back, and I'll be hugely surprised because I was surprised this summer the fact that we renewed both Kleiny and Wardy, because I thought at least one of them would stay and the other one of the two would go and we would bring in someone else. So next summer, it should be next summer. I doubt January unless there's an offer there. We'll probably do that. I think the squad is missing a left back option because it's only Mitchell right now. Adam Roller, we don't know what's happening with him. And maybe another winger and striker. It's like 3 or 4 positions, realistically, if you want to strengthen the squad to where it should be, that we need. But I never expected all them positions to be filled out in this window, I'll be honest.
No, seemingly neither does my cat. He's gone crazy. So I'm sure you can't hear that, but he's making a lot of noise over there. I think what you said about Joel Ward, is you said he's not been that bad, and that the truth is he never is. He makes mistakes and he's slowing down, but that's why he's been with us so long, and that's why he's still being trusted by the manager and coaching staff we have now. It's just he's just consistent. He's going to give you everything he's got every single time. That's why he's club captain. It's difficult. I've got so much admiration for him, but I want him replaced. He is a proper Palace player. He's an absolute legend of the football club. He's played countless games for us, been with us, over a decade. What a fantastic servant for Crystal Palace. Not good enough in the Premier League. That's the bottom line.
Well, people disagree with you because they can say he's done a relatively good job because he's still not. We know that we can improve, as you said. How many clubs will take Joel Ward? But then again, he's not horrible. It's weird. He's not awful player, but he is our main weakness.
if you don't want to, because teams target him. They've actually of late stopped targeting Mitchell. I think we've got better support out there for him now. They have started to target us in that position, which is a horrible sign. But if you play a system like we do, Roy's very good at playing the kind of low risk system when he's got players that he's just going to use every week, right? So with the fullback positions, we're almost sort of asymmetrical with it because Ward plays a different game to Mitchell. Mitchell is is sort of trusted and more frequently getting forward, but still not very much. We don't really play that modern sort of Premier League game of your fullbacks bombing on and getting past the wingers and having shots and all that kind of stuff. We're just not one of those teams that does that. So because we're not doing that it doesn't, and Ward isn't really exposed in any way. But the question comes, are we not doing that because we don't have the players, or are we not doing that because tactically we just don't want to do it? And I think, unfortunately, it just becomes this kind of circular thing. I've been distracted by that. The energy will make Hugo Ekitike.
So
sign for Palace. Okay, sure.
Ekitike. That's it. It's not Ekitike. Yeah, it's Ekitike. Yeah. Maybe. Let's see. How many likes are we on right now? Let's get likes update as well. I'm pretty sure we're close to 200. We are on 195. 5 more likes. We smashed all the targets so far. I know we can get 5 more likes in the next hour or so. Now let's bring on Stan. How you doing, Stan? All right?
How are we doing?
Yeah, you good?
Don't know about good, man, but yeah.
What? Why? What's up?
Nerves are shot, lads.
Why? Why? Are you not happy with? I mean, we've been talking about it for the last 2 hours, but are you not happy with the transfer business so far in this window? Of course, the striker one we've all been talking about, but yeah.
People might disagree with me here, but we're not a serious club, lads. We ain't serious. Patrick's been saying it since February, and I've said it for when Vieira wasn't back to the last window, and we look at this, we ain't serious, lads. Like, honestly, where has Parish gone and found 15 million quid to sign a goalie, and pay him 100 grand a week when we have glaring gaps in other areas of the field? I mean, I just don't get it. Do you know what I mean? So 15 million, you got another 4, so 19 million. That would have probably got you the French fella. Do you know what I mean? And you could have plucked Alex McCarthy out of the Championship for 2 million quid. Kasper Schmeichel's just had his contract terminated. Could have got him. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I when it comes to the goalkeeper situation, that's what I was talking about with Dean Henderson, Stan. I was saying there's nothing wrong with Dean Henderson joining Palace, but when it comes down to it, I think it's about looking at the areas that you need to strengthen and looking at your budget and thinking maybe could we go with a cheaper option. Then again, if you get cheap, you won't get quality as a backup option. But yeah, I thought we needed a striker. But for you, Hambo, do you understand where Stan's coming from?
I do, and it's a source of frustration when I suppose what happens is you're making an assumption when we say that. Like I said it earlier, right? I can't argue with it. I was like, it feels like we prioritize the goalkeeper position over something that's more important. So of course I do agree with that. But at the same time, it's a massive assumption that because we spend that money, we're not going to spend more money somewhere else. Like I remember we asked this question of Steve Parish back in the day when he was on our shows and stuff, when we were talking to him about that, and he said to us, like, it's not always this or this. Sometimes it is this and this, because the deals on their own have to make sense. So I guess it's hard not to say, is that 15 or 20, depending on what you read, is that now not available to spend on a striker? If that has cost us the deal for Ekitike,
we've got right after 2 hours. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Say it backwards. It's fine. Ekitike.
Yeah.
Right. But if that, for example, cost us that deal, then obviously I'd be mashing my head into the keyboard. But this basically the way we've acted in this window, the way we've acted recently in general, it does give fans like ourselves this cause for concern. It does feel like, I think Patrick uses the word missed opportunities a lot. They use the phrase missed opportunities. And that's how I feel. I feel we miss opportunities. And that doesn't mean you can't prove a negative. You can never prove because we didn't do this thing, we failed. We could have been in a worse position. Right. We can never fully 100% know that. But, right now, sitting here thinking every 5 seconds, thinking like the deal's on, the deal's off, the deal's on, the deal's off, knowing we're probably not working on anything else, and could end up with the squad that we've got, plus a keeper and a defender who may sign, doesn't feel good. I won't wake up tomorrow thinking Palace have had a good window, that's for sure.
Yeah, before you go, Hambo, because I know you have to go. What would you give it out of 10 so far? Let's say we don't sign a striker, and let's say
right now,
what's the join? Yeah,
right now it's a 4 out of 10. And that's because we had to get a keeper in because of Guaita, obviously, and so they get some credit for that. But if you look at the squad we had with Roy last year and the results he was getting, and you look at the fact we kept that same manager, and now we have this squad. No matter what he says, we've given him a weaker squad than he had last year, and we've told him we're going to finish top. We need to finish in the top 10. So that to me, none of that equates. So that's why they get a 4 out of 10.
Do you agree? Quickly, right before you go, do you agree with Nick? I mean, you have a lot of discussions with Nick, where he's saying if we signed France today instead of earlier, I bet everyone would have been saying it's a good window.
Well, no.
No. We don't know anything about France. Sorry to interrupt, Hambo. We don't know anything about him. All we've seen is a couple of highlight reels. He might be 2 bob. Could be on loan at Dulwich Hamlet next season. You don't know.
Do you remember when he said that about Olise, though, Stan? Yeah. Anyway, I've got to go. I just thought I'd leave that in there, just for the last second. But no, I take the point. He's absolutely right. Like, we know nothing about France and how he's going to perform. But look, Nick's point is well intended and well made, but no, not at all. Because I think it's about a squad, isn't it? It's a squad that lost Zaha. It's a squad that it needs some serious injection of quality at the top end, and it currently doesn't have that. And França doesn't change that. He's an exciting prospect. Doesn't change the fact that we lack quality right now. So there you go. Look, I'll go and leave you all.
Nice one,
All right, then. Take care,
boss.
Yeah, nice to see you all. Take care.
See you later.
Take care, Chris.
Cheers.
See you later. T's meant to be joining us in the last hour as well. I don't know if he's been caught up. But Sam, what have we made of today? All the news and Ekitike, Holding. Well, Holding should be announced hopefully. That's going to be quiet. I think we just thought it was signed. Yeah,
I'll be honest. I'm keen to get your lot's opinion. I don't care for Henderson. Honestly, I don't care. I'm fuming we've signed him. I'm fuming that we've wasted the money in signing him. We've wasted money that could have gone on a winger, wasted money that could have gone on a striker. This is my opinion. I can get slated for it, but that's how it is. Rob Holding, again, he's not someone I particularly care for. And again, that's 4 million that could have gone towards something else. So why have we bought him? He's getting a 3-year contract. Henderson, he's going to be a second choice goalkeeper on 100 grand a week, lads. Like, someone give me some context here. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think we got him because there was a good opportunity and that Dougie rates him to be first choice? Do you think it's a case that he's going to be first choice ahead of St. Johnstone in the future?
Honestly, I might be being short-sighted, but I genuinely don't care. I just like the guy, to be honest, because I don't want him here. I want attacking players. Like, let's put it real talk. Our biggest rivals have just been drawn with Ajax and Marseille in the Europa League. And this is where we're at. This club's pathetic, mate. The way we are run is pathetic, honestly. And until Steve Parish sells up and gets some people in that are actually going to invest proper money into this club, I think it's going to stay this way. It's going to be frustrating. That's all it's going to be.
Are you not happy with the business that we've done then? Yeah. Like Lerma seems good.
Lerma's a good signing. I'll give him that.
Well, of course, you don't know about France yet. which of course I can't give an opinion on that. So you don't rate it. So out of 10 so far, what would you give the window then? I'm genuinely curious.
3.
3. Interesting. Patrick, me and you gave it a bit higher, no? In terms of earlier.
I gave it a 5. I told you without a strike, I said it was a 5. Remember? I said 7.5 if we get a striker, 5 if we don't. So
yeah, I don't
3, 4, 5. I mean, it's not.
Our problem is, I think the main thing that we're frustrated on is the fact that we haven't got the striker. The striker thing is still going on. It's going to go on after this window. Unfortunately, it shuts in about 40 minutes time, and I think that's where the main frustrations are really coming from. Because if you sign a striker, as we're saying, it could have easily gone to the 7-8 to the 7-8 in terms of out of 10. Because I feel like we have signed decent players in isolation. Dean Henderson, I know what you're saying, Sam. Maybe you don't rate him, but I think Dean Henderson is a good signing in isolation. I think Rob Holding is an improvement on Tompkins, so I think that's an improvement there. I think Lerma is what we needed and what we didn't have last year, and him and Decore is going to be good on the free deal. I think France are based on the potential what we've been hearing. I guess time will find out. I think that will still, relatively sort of signing, which we're going to have to see. I don't think any of our signings have been bad. But I don't think it's been enough. The problem I have is that we haven't sorted out the position that we need to sort out, and that is up front. And that's where my frustration lies. But I'm not really that angry with
that deal off for Ekitike.
Yeah, well, yeah. According to reports over in France, it seems like it is off.
But I've got on Twitter here, Alan Myers. I've never heard of this journalist in my life. He's saying that they're still working on it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's what he said that earlier on, and then afterwards. I don't know. It's like back and forward. It's back and forward. He hasn't gave another proper update after what he said. Reports over in France suggest that he was off. Even before he said that we were close to him. French media was saying that the deal's off. So I guess time will tell. But look, we got 40 minutes, and I guess if it was on, then more sources would have come out saying that the deal's still on. So I guess it's looking more
said it's one to watch, but.
Yeah, it's one to watch. That was earlier, and then afterwards, reports over in France suggested that it's off. So
another thing I would say is you spent 4 million on Rob Holding. You could have gone and got Hudson-Odoi for 3. That's how ridiculous we are as a club.
Patrick, do you agree with that?
No, I told you we're not dealing with Chelsea anymore. They're not dealing with us anymore. He wasn't coming to Pad. Another club, I agree with that, but not with Chelsea. Chelsea were not going to sell him to us based on the Olise deal. So I don't agree with that. But I know what he's saying. I get the frustration, but I don't think that he would have come to us. So another player, another club possibly, but not.
Sinisterra is available on loan and he's gone to Bournemouth. And we're wasting our time.
So Sinisterra, this issue with Sinisterra, he plays the same position as França. So you can't bring him in, Stan, and you've already put your eggs in the França basket, meaning he's an attacking midfielder, just like Sinisterra. It wouldn't make any sense. I love the player. Great player.
I thought he played on the wing. I thought he played on the wing. Yeah.
Nah, he floats. Sinisterra, same thing Sinisterra does. And or like Eze plays. I mean, he's not a winger in like Nonto is. So again, it wouldn't make. Again, I understand the frustration. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that when I've seen that people in the chat talking about Sinisterra. Listen, I don't think that was a good comparison. Again, Hudson-Odoi, I would like to have gotten him, but I'm not worried about a wide player. I'd rather we have a striker. But we had the discussion already, and the striker
Hudson Daka to Bournemouth is off.
It was ridiculous.
Well, apparently, Sinisterra deal was off to Bournemouth as well. I don't know how true that is, but I'll be honest. It's KJ. KJ says it's off, but look, we got like half an hour left. Well, near enough half an hour left till the window shuts. I think at this point, you can't really expect the club to sign anyone. The question you can ask is could we have done it deals a bit earlier? Why did we leave it till the final few hours? That's the main thing. That's the main thing that I have a problem with, because especially with the striker situation, Rob Holding, it makes sense. If players like Rob Holding, yes, you get him on deadline day because the opportunity arises, £4 million. But when you talk about a position that you know that you desperately need to improve on, which we did do with Lerma, for example, we signed Lerma nice and early because we needed another midfielder. But another position that we needed to strengthen on that we knew even when Wilf was at the club at the time, remember, it took Wilf a while for him to leave towards the end of July, is that the striker, we knew that going into this window, we needed to improve on the striker position. Now, this is where I question recruitment, and I think that all the recruitment department needs to be looked at, because I think it's a failure on them, is the fact that we knew this from last season, and we went into this window with an improvement in midfield. Yes, we've done that, but with striker, here we are with about 35 minutes left till the window is shut, and we still haven't got our man. We haven't got our man. We left it to the last day. That is my problem with this window. It's not the players that we've signed, it's the players that we haven't signed, the players that we've needed to sign. So yes, I think it's a risky approach, which is going to bite us back. Stan.
Do you read The Athletic?
Yeah, I do.
There's one common denominator in all of this, and that's Steve Parish. I sound like a broken record here. People are sick of me saying it. It said in that article about Dougie Friedman that he is involved in everything. So Friedman might even bring him a player, and say, we want to sign this guy, this is agreed, etc., etc. And he picks it all apart and gets involved. The man doesn't know football. I understand he's a chairman, he's a businessman, whatever, but the man doesn't know football. He shouldn't be getting involved.
He's kept us up though, Stan. I think he's kept us up like a few times. I wouldn't say he doesn't know football. My problem with Parish has always been that he knows football, but the problem is I don't think he is the man to push us forward to the levels that we want to reach.
He needs to let go of this club.
I think he's hit a ceiling. But saying that, do you not understand what he's trying to do with the club as well in terms of being sustainable, building a new stand, the new academy facilities as well?
Listen, I get it, but there's clubs that have, Luton built a stand in 3 months, in 2 months or something, and they're in the process of building a new stadium, Luton, right? And Parish can't negotiate 70 grand to buy a piece of land off of Sainsbury's or something. Listen, it's a broken record, and I've said it before. He saved us. Well done. Always be grateful. But we lack so much ambition, and I've said it again. West Ham have won a European trophy. They've been playing in Europe for the past 3 years, 2 or 3 years straight. I can't remember. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Our biggest rivals, I mentioned it earlier, and this is, what's it called? This is where we're at. And our fan base in general is so scared of we might go into administration. We've been a Premier League club for 11 years, guys. 11 years. We're not, I don't think we're going to go into administration. I think we need to get sold to someone that's got money. I honestly don't care who it is, Yeah.
I think Parish kind of understands. I get where Parish is coming from. I get where he's coming from. So I understand he wants to be sustainable, but it's like a fine balance, right? John Texer wants another thing. I think one thing that we can agree on is that this ownership thing needs to be sorted, right? It needs to be sorted. Whether it's Texter versus Parish versus Blitzer, because they're not all on the same page. Regardless of what we say here about Parish, about Texter, they're not all on the same page. We shouldn't have to pick sides with our owners. Our owners should be on the same page. We should hold all our owners accountable on the same level. But the problem that we're having right now is when Texter goes out, which I respect them for that because it's good to get that clarity, he goes to the Athletic and gives that interview. It shows that there are massive problems in this football club. And for us to progress to the level that we want to progress in, every single person needs to be on the same page. The Premier League is not what it was 10 years ago when we first got promoted. It is now a ruthless league where people with billions and billions of money are just spending it into clubs in the Premier League due to the fact that they are bored. They just want to prove a point. They're just billionaires. So if we want to all be on the same page, then great. If we're not, I think the biggest thing that we could come out of this window with, yes, we've made some good signings, but there's a massive issue that's still going on right now and will be going on tomorrow. And that is with our owners. They're not all on the same page. That needs to be solved sooner rather than later. It's not just Parish. It's Texer, Parish, Blitzer, Harris. All of them own it. Blitzer and Harris. Parish has given them praises. But then again, we've also heard reports that they wanted Liverpool. They want to buy into Liverpool. Now Chelsea. Now we're hearing the same with Texter, potentially wanting to invest in another Premier League club. And we can't have this. We can't have our owners flirting with our Premier League rivals and saying that they want to invest in them. There's a reason for that. Everyone's still on the table. Texter, do you want in? Do you want out? It's as simple as that. If he wants out because Parish is at the club, then maybe he has to move. Or everyone needs to just come to a decision making. Literally, someone needs to leave the club. Someone needs to leave the club. There needs to be a change in this football club for us to progress. Because I just don't see how we do. If just not for a football club, but any type of business. If you have people who have different visions to how you do. How can you like elevate and progress? You're always going to be in disagreement. So that's how I see it.
Would you want to be part or have anything to do with a business where you've invested the most money, but the guy with 10% ownership has the most say?
Well, Texter kind of answered that. Look, yes and no. So yes, in terms of if you're entering the industry that you don't know about, and you have a guy like Steve Parish who has a track record in terms of keeping Palace up, which to an investment, that's a massive factor. If you're investing into a club, you don't want them to get relegated. Then yes, you would want them to be making, you would want them to stay at the club. But then I think what we realize over time is that what Parish has done, yes, it has been good for the football club, but then again, it hasn't been enough to elevate us. And when you have a person that has low amount of shares as Parish does, but still calling the shots, it's just simply not okay. Like, it's not okay. And I think Tex has realized that as well.
We have had one cup final, which, in my opinion, if Parish had sacked Alan Pardew and brought in a different manager, if Sam Allardyce was in charge of us in that cup final, we'd have won it. That's my opinion. We've been FA Cup quarter-final, FA Cup semi-final. And listen, we've had countless opportunities. I think we need to find... Look at Bournemouth. I mean, it's just sickening how much money that they can spend with their 11,000-seater stadium. And we, like I said, we're looking down the back of the sofa for a bit of change.
Yeah. Nick is saying Parish is making waves. Clark says we've lost our best ever player and had one of our worst ever windows. So we'll be talking about ratings as we come to close in this 3 hour or 3-ish hours of stream. I don't know if you'll hit 3 hours because we started a bit late. Palace, Pardew's dance haunts me. Look at Bournemouth. Look at Stoke. Says Collis Damien. Forget top 10 guys, says Luke. This window was mid-table bottom league business. So let's talk about that because Roy said going into the season, he basically said how he wants to finish in the top 10. He said it last season as well. He said that this squad with a few additions can do that. So Patrick, do you think with the transfer business that we've done to the improvements to the squad, do you think that Roy's objectives of top 10 could happen? Do you think it's been enough business to improve the squad overall?
Not even close. No. In order for us to push on as
squad,
so long for Parish talked about pushing on progression, and Hodgson mentioned top 10. There is no way what we have done has made us a top 10 side. I can list the clubs if you want to that are much, much better than us, and there'll be 10 of them. And all of them have either already good sides or built on what they did before. You know, the top 6 is the top 6. Then you've got sides like Fulham, Bournemouth now most likely will finish ahead of us. Don't know about Forest yet. Villa's going to finish ahead of us, clearly. So there's that. But again, to finish, to push on, you need to have got a better right back, strengthen at left back to provide backup for Mitchell. And then gotten obviously a wide play. You had to get a Wolf replacement. You can talk about France all you want, and again, I haven't seen him play, and I hope he's the best player we've ever had. But he's a risk, so you need to really get someone established that could replace Wolf. We didn't do that, and we still have a problem at striker. So I don't know how getting Henderson, who I have no problem with us, because again, the Guaita forced on hand and that, and getting Holding, no problem with that either, because we probably need to have backup because I'd rather have him playing than Tompkins. But those two we didn't need. Fate just ended up where we had to get Henderson, and Holding was the opportunity that came up. But to think we can finish in the top 10 with this squad, you've got to be deluded. You got to be deluded to think we can finish top 10 with this squad. Everyone would have to have a career year for that to happen. We'd have to have both strikers score 15 goals each. Do you know what I mean? It's like things have to be like off the charts. Johnson and Henderson would have to have 10 clean sheets a piece, something like that. It'd be ridiculous. And so, but again, it's not on the manager. It's not on the players. This is on us not building a squad good enough to finish in top 10. We're going to finish where we always finish, 14, 15. I'm not here for that. That's fine, staying up, but I'm not here for that. I'm done with the staying up. I've gone long past that. I told you, I'm not going to bore people again, but I'm not here for staying up for another season, blah, blah, blah. It does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. So just real quick, one update. Sky Sports has a reporter at the Palace ground, and she just said, you know, they're hoping to, well, obviously hopefully get that announced, and the Ekitike deal. She says they're still waiting to get word back on it, so we'll see what happens. So there's that.
Interesting. It's not clear, but according to latest reports,
it's very unclear. Very unclear. So.
Yeah, it's very unclear. I can't lie. I wasn't expecting a comment there about someone. Go on.
This is what I'm saying. I agree with Patrick, but this is what I'm saying. Like a player like Ekitike, I don't know. Like he probably doesn't play much anyway. Like we could have just gone in and got this deal done. We could have started negotiations on him a month ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you waiting for until the last minute? Are you waiting because you think you're going to get the best deal, or I don't know.
Stan, no, it wasn't that. Like what happened to the telling D you went on before. They had to get replacement. Kolo Muani, they signed today. That's the replacement. They weren't going to sell him if they had a replacement. That's why I had to wait till today. Had they gotten somebody earlier in the window, I agree with what you're saying. But like always happened in the window, unfortunately, you know, you have to have dominoes fall. And Kolo Muani had to sign, and he just signed for them today. So now he's available. Whether he leaves or not is different, but he's available now because they signed a player to replace him. So we couldn't have gone in earlier. If we went out with like a 50 million deal, which would have been stupid on our part, right? So, but I know what you're saying, but that deal was not happening before today.
Again, so you can flip it that if they sold him further back, it would have given them enough time to find a replacement, right? Which I'm sure they would have done because they got money.
That's a better recruitment, right? But a lot of people don't like to do that. I mean, you know, look at what happened with Rice. West Ham didn't spend that money before they sold Rice. They knew they were going to sell him, right? But they didn't go out and buy players until they had gotten the money in. So I know what you're saying, but that's a very risky proposition to go out and buy players hoping you're going to sell a player. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't really work that way. I know what you're saying, but I can't. The Ekitike deal, by the way, I hadn't heard of the kid until today. I'm not going to lie to you. I never heard of him until today. So I'm not going to kill us for not getting him today because we waited to the last minute. The problem I have is we waited to the last minute again is the problem. You know what I mean? Not this player. So,
that's a huge problem,
it is what it, you know what I mean? Why? I know, but that's a problem that we've discussed a million times, and I'm actually bored of it. I get what you guys are doing, but you know what I mean? I'm just bored of it because I know this is where we've been.
But,
you know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, like, does like Steve Parish is apparently a Palace fan, right? So does he not? Okay, but does he not sit there and think, wow, like biggest rivals have just had a Europa League draw, they're playing in Europe. Biggest rivals have just signed Ansu Fati from Barcelona, and I'm here sticking my hand down the back of the sofa to try and find some money for Rob Holding. Like, surely he's got to realise that, like, stuff has to change. You know, like, seriously, like.
I know. I get where you're coming from. Look, I'm not going to talk about the individual player of today, Ekitike, in terms of that's a failure. We didn't get him. My problem is we had 2 months and we was linked with the likes of Iheanacho in that 2 months as well, and we didn't get him. Look, there's other players as well. Like you have to set your targets even before the window opens. We had last season. We should always set our targets. Went through them one by one. I just don't understand how we came here to the 1st of September with 20 minutes left of the window. And we still don't know if we're going to get a striker. There's always conflicting reports. Still no proper update, but it seems like it's going to be difficult now. And also Hugo, Stephen makes a very good point. Hugo isn't the answer. No guarantees. He's the best striker than Mateta or Edouard, although would like to be proven wrong. There's also that as well. He's unproven, very young, but it's about like. That's what I'm saying. When you actually ask the questions and try to find the answers, you can actually see where the problems lead to. I know, Stan, you love saying Steve Parish, and Steve Parish plays a massive part to it. But for me, it's not just Steve Parish. I think it's a case of recruitment team. I think our recruitment team needs to look. We need to look at it after this window and ask real serious questions about why couldn't we strengthen the positions that we needed to strengthen. And I've said it. I've been saying it here. You know, Patrick can back me up, and Stan, I'm pretty sure you know as well. Douglas Friedman, I've said it so many times that he has found some real gems for us, and we'll see if France is one of them as well. And he's made some fantastic business. Well. But then not every sign is going to be 10 out of 10. Brighton, not every one of their signings has worked out. That's not realistic. I mean, it all depends on the play situation. I can't lie. We can't get onto. Yeah, let me just say my point, and then you can respond to that. We can talk about the whole players. And we can talk about, oh, he's a bad sign, he's a good signer. But overall, he has made some fantastic business with Eze now being linked with £80 million, Okore, same, Gehi, Anderson, Olise that we saw all for profit. Like, he has made some good business. It's not bad. It's not bad in that department. But saying that, he has some big flaws as well that we haven't seen yet. That is what worries me about what our plans are in terms of selling these big names and getting in other players, because when it comes to replacements, there's some big question marks about it. We haven't replaced Wan-Bissaka. We haven't even, you can make the argument, well, I guess we have kind of replaced Benteke with Edouard Mateta, but he hasn't quite worked out. But yeah, there are still question marks about it, and serious questions need to be asked. As much as I love Dougie, so we need to actually find out what went wrong and make sure this doesn't happen again, especially up front, because it's poor. But go ahead, Patrick. I know you wanted to say something.
No, because, it seems like sometimes you want to give Dougie credit, and that's fair, but Sam makes a very good point. We never talk about how he failed. You've got to balance it out. So I'm making a list now. Alex McCarthy, Steve Mandanda, Eldor Rakip, Yaroslav Yak.
Mandanda was a good signing.
Mandanda wasn't his.
Sola.
Mandanda and Alex Mack weren't his. They were under Pardew. Wasn't he yet?
Yak wasn't his.
He actually get
Yak was his. Yes.
Sola was his.
Yes. Rakip was his.
Bowie and Plunge are his, even though they're free, they were his, right?
Yeah.
2017 onwards. 2017 summer onwards. That's it.
So I crossed off Mandanda. So again, McCarthy, Rakip, Yak, Sola, Bowie, Plunge. Again, I'm not saying he spent a lot of money on some of them. Sola was a decent amount of money, but even if they were free, we've had some great frees, right? In players like Guaita and Lerma. We've had some awful frees in players like Plunge and Bowie. So my only point is we have to balance it out. Yes, Dougie's found some gems, but he's also found some rocks. Yes, is that opposite of a gem, a rock, whatever? You know what I mean? So it's fair to balance it out. You know what I mean? So because but if Dougie praise,
I understand, Patrick. But even if you balance it out, I still think he's got more good than wrong. Like the players that you're mentioning, they're cool, they're fringe players, but I don't think anyone expected Luke Plange. Luke Plange wasn't a signing that we expected him to come through the door. He's one for the future. So you can make the argument there.
Championship every single week before he came to us.
Yeah, but then we didn't. I don't think anyone.
Wait, stop. So was Eze, so was Olise playing championship before they came here. No,
I'm saying, but Luke Plange wasn't. What's it called? Like that was a bad move for him. He should have stayed where he was.
No. I get that. I thought you said because I thought you're trying. Right, I got you.
It was a free transfer, right, or something? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
we paid him $1 million.
But come on, it's nothing. It's basically nothing in for us. Look, he has got. I can't lie. I'm saying it myself. We need to ask questions to the recruitment team about striker. Fair. What went wrong? We need to have answers about it. But let's be fair as well here. I mean, some of the names you mentioned there, Patrick, yes, he has got it wrong, but I can go through Brighton and their signings as well. I mean, Dennis Undav, he's gone out on loan now. For example, he seemed like he hasn't really kicked into form. But of course, you don't hear about the players that are flops because we don't support Brighton, for example. I think he's got more right than wrong.
No, you can honestly try to go back and find. You can find me 10.
Okay, I'm going to look at Brighton
players that were poor if you want. But let me tell you something.
I'm going to look at them.
You are not going to be. You can name 10, but when you talk about Caicedo, Cucurella, McAllister, bro, no, I'm done. Let me finish. You cannot compare because they sell him for 50 million plus, and we've never done that. So,
but Patrick, you don't want that to happen, though. That's the problem. We can do that. But we can do that, Patrick. We can do that. But you don't want that to happen, right? You don't want for us to sell Eze. We have got players like Eze. Hold up. Let me land. Patrick, I know what you said there about them selling players like McAllister, Caicedo, etc. We can sell Gehi for good. I'll say all these players. And if you disagree with me, then say after I've finished listening to these players. Gehi, Anderson, Decore, Eze, Olise, all them players would fit into a similar category to what Brighton have done in terms of selling players for a good amount of money. We can do that. We haven't done that yet so far. And if we do that, then people are going to criticize him in that aspect. Maybe we do have to do that to spend money, but we can't just say Brighton have done that and we can't. We can do the same. We can do the same. We literally had to keep Olise in the last minute because of a release clause that was going to go absolutely awful. But he's a player that we all know is worth much more. We have got players that are worth crazy amounts of money as well. So I don't think it's a case of, Brighton have sold players for that much and we haven't. Well, if we do that, I know everyone's going to come on here and be upset that we sold Eze for £60 million. I mean, it's better that we haven't done that.
But not if you have a plan to replace them, which they have always had. That's the difference.
But you know what the problem is, Patrick? Yeah. This club will not have a plan. Because honestly, you could say, let's say you sell Gehi for 80 million quid. Let's say, okay, he'll go, and we won't replace him. We've got a ready-made. We actually got a ready-made replacement in Chris Richards. He can step up. He can play, get more minutes. But for 80 million quid, we could probably buy 3 or 4 players. Do you know what I mean? But we won't. We won't do it because that's not how we work.
So again, I expressed an opinion about Brighton, and I get Patrick, you should need to retire. So again, David King, come on the show. I'll put a more intelligent comment in there. I'm expressing an opinion that we are behind Brighton. You can disagree. That's fine. Me retiring. By the way, I'm already retired. By the way, in case you were wondering, I'm already retired. Thanks for asking
Patrick,
about that.
He's been at it all night. Yeah. He was giving it to me as well. So
yeah, I know.
David,
I know,
come
exactly.
on, mate.
So.
Come here, mate.
Either come on the show and make it intelligent, or because again, my only point is, and again, you don't agree with me, but I'm telling you that I know, and we're ahead of Brighton because we're in the Premier League before them. All I'm trying to say is, I know what you're saying, D. I would not be happy selling those players, but I would have no problem if, like Brighton, we had a ready-made replacements that were on loan in Belgium or in Italy or whatever, and then we brought them in and continued to push on with the manager who's now got them into the Europa League. Is that correct? They're in Europa League this season. That's my only comment. So, I'm not saying that we haven't done a good job. People always misconstrue what I say. Try and listen. I'm only saying that, as Sam said, our biggest rival is Paris looking at them and saying, look at what they're doing. Yes, we can get Olise and Eze. We can sell them on and bring in the next Olise, the next Eze, the next Wilf. Do you know what I'm saying? I know that's the plan in the future with our academy. That's all I'm trying to say is that we need to have a better plan. We want to sell on these players, and I get it. Olise will probably be sold next year, Gehi also. But do we have a plan to replace them? Or we don't. We don't have a plan to replace a manager, D. We lost the manager and spent 6 months or whatever and brought back the same manager. That's my only point.
That's what I said as well, Patrick.
Want to get in these comments, make negative, nasty comments about me. I'm just making a point. I'm not yelling at D or Stan. I'm just trying to make a point that I just think we can do better. That's all. Disagree all you want. Just be respectful about it. I have no problem with that.
So Patrick,
100% people. We've had a good stream so far. Let's just be. If you don't agree, then just say what you don't agree about rather than personal.
That's fine. I don't mind that.
Be like I love Parish or I love Texter or whoever you support. Just say whatever. It adds.
Or you love Patrick, Stan, or do you know what I mean?
Go on, Stan.
What I'm saying is, this is another one as well. Why do you think Roy Hodgson is the manager? Okay, listen, love Roy. Done great stuff for this club. No one can ever say anything about that. But why do you think he's the manager? Because he is, he's the Parish. If he brought in a Graham Potter or an Addy Hooter or whoever he was linked with, would have to back him severely. I reckon to the tune of 80 to 100 million this window, he'd have to back him. It's the cheap option for him. You know, it really is. It's the cheap option. You know?
No, I get it in that aspect. 100%. I just want to go through.
It's lipstick on a pig, mate. It's the best way to look at it. That's what Palace are. And you know what? People can say doom and gloom. You can come for me. You can come for Patrick. Whatever. Do not admit that when you saw Brighton having that Europa League draw, and I saw it on Twitter. I saw Ryan Adset. He's a nice fella, actually. You know him. You've done a couple of streams with him. And he was in the pub. They were all together in the pub. The draw was being done. Do not tell me that you, that you didn't feel 1 ounce of, I wish that was us. Of course you did. Everybody did. And they have come up after us. They were playing in the 15 years ago. And they're miles ahead of us now. And that's on Parish, man.
So quickly, an update on a transfer, and it's not on a striker. Rob Holding. David Ornstein just has tweeted the following, that Rob Holding has joined Crystal Palace from Arsenal in a permanent deal, but the finances are different to what we expected. He has said the following. He said, bit my tongue. Jeez. He said CBFC are paying £1 million plus 2.5 million in add-ons The 27-year-old centre-back has signed a 3-year contract and is eligible for selection against Wolves at Selhurst Park on Sunday. So it's not 4, it's the 1 million guaranteed plus 2.5 million in add-ons. And for me, that's essentially free. Like, that's nothing. So I'm happy with that business.
Right.
I'm happy with that business. That's good business there, but it still doesn't take it away from the fact that we haven't signed a striker. And we're approaching the last 10 minutes of the window, and it's looking less likely that is going to happen. But yeah, £1 million for Rob Holding, that's decent. But look, people, I know we've got carried away with the last hour talking about Parish, talking about just owners and signings. But let's quickly just wrap up the window as there's only 10 minutes left. Rob Holding, we brought in Dean Henderson, Lerma, Francois. Also, I know it's not signing, but kept Olise, which was positive at the time, and I think that will help us massively. What have we made of the window then, Stan? I know I asked this when you first joined as well, but now you've had a bit of time to let out the frustration. Are you a bit more, okay with the bit? Look, striker, we're not okay with. I don't think anyone here is happy about not bringing in another striker. Maybe there are some who think Eduardo Mateta can come good, but do you look at the squad last year compared to this year? If we're keeping our core plus adding Lerma, which I think is an improvement to the starting 11, Dean Henderson, I think, is probably an improvement to what we had in goal. Rob Holding to Tompkins. France, we don't know yet. Do you think we're heading in the right direction, even though it's not enough?
Nope, we're not.
Okay.
We are at best standing still. At best. Grey Eagle just said it there. Same shit, different year. I will go as far as saying this window to me, I don't know if on paper maybe not, but it feels as bad as the window that we signed James McCarthy for 8.5 million. That is how this window feels to me. And people can say I'm negative, that I'm this, that, the other. This window is not good enough. This window needed to be a 60 to 80 million window. And
Patrick, after listening to all them players, are you a bit more okay? I know you said 5 out of 10, but do you think we are heading in the right direction, even though it's not enough? With those signings that we made so far?
I think it's still a 5 out of 10. I still would have. I think it still needed a striker option. Younger would have been preferred because of the potential to grow. And I'm still concerned about the fullbacks with the left back and right back. I know it's something Tony talked about earlier in the window, but I think that had to be addressed, especially left back. To the club's credit, they did try and address with Lewis Hall, and that fell through with the Olise thing. Would I rather have Lewis Hall over Olise? No. So, I mean, I know why that fell through, but no, I think the window has not been good. Lerma, solid acquisition, seen him play. I have no problem with Henderson, no problem with Holding, especially now the money going down. I could care less again, but that money wasn't an issue for me anyway. And I'm banking on the only way this window is really good is France comes really, really good. But I haven't seen him play. If he ever gets, if he's ever, off the injury, comes and play, and he just is just tremendously brilliant. I've watched videos of him. Don't get me wrong. I've never actually seen him play. If he comes off and he's a brilliant, brilliant player, then the window was we got a blinder. But without a striker, I just hope, and this is my biggest fear. I just hope that Eduardo Mateta can keep scoring goals. It's a big ask because one has 2, the other one has 3, but it's only 4 games. The competition has been great, but I'm hopeful that somehow they're able to score goals, because if they don't score goals or we didn't bring a striker, this is a disaster, simply put.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're relying heavily on players that haven't really proven themselves in the Premier League. So yeah, I mean, if they score goals, then I don't think anyone's going to be talking about strikers, of course. But the fear that majority of us have is that, they haven't been scoring goals, and yeah, they have been, but not enough in terms of what we expect. But Edward has had a sort of start to the season. I know people disagree with me about that, but he hasn't been absolutely terrible. I guess now the question is, will Mateta get more opportunities? But look, there's over 260 people here. If you haven't already done so, make sure to leave a like and subscribe as we're approaching towards the end of the stream for more Palace content. We've already got match preview out on the channel as well, and also the preview podcast on usual podcast platforms. Patrick?
So I have a question to both of you. I mean, I don't know if you guys listened to Roy's pre-match press conference today. Why the U-turn, you think? Because on Saturday, he definitely talked about bringing in 3 more players, and then today he talked about we're good. So what do you think that's about?
I just don't think he wants drama. I just don't think he wants drama. He's not going to come out and say, "Oh, literally, oh no, we needed more signings." He's not going to do this. He's not that type of. He said his piece.
Right.
Do you get Roy doesn't need to say it because, as you're saying, Patrick, we all know that he wanted more signings. Like we all know that he said it all summer long, and he even mentioned numbers. He mentioned 3 recently. So I don't think he's going to come out here and say, "Oh, you know, I'm mad that we haven't signed those 3 players." He's going to come out here and say, "You know, we've kept." He looked at the positives. He looked at the core that we kept and tried to build on it. But yeah, he's probably not happy. But that's why we have Roy there, because he's not going to come out publicly and criticize the club. But you know, I think when it really matters.
I think God love him, like I said, and you can't dislike him, like I said, really. But he's a yes man, and that's why he's there. Because
I disagree.
He's Parish's yes man.
But but Stan, he's come out publicly and he has said he wants players. Like he said that. Let's take it back. He said it on the Overlap interview when he was in charge last year on Gary Neville's channel. He said that this club can finish in the top 10 if you keep the core and improve on the squad. He said it in pre-season. Well, he said it when he first signed the deal at Palace this time around that he wants to finish in the top 10. He talked about summer transfers all summer long when he was asked about more players, and he has said 2, he has said 3 all summer long. I think I don't think it makes him a yes man because he has been called for players. I just don't think he wants drama going into the Wolves game. Because let's be honest, the start of the season so far has been fine. And I'm pretty sure he has sent a message to the board. But I don't think he's going to come out to the media right before the Wolves game. And he knows that we're not going to sign 3 players and start crying about 3 players. But we all know what he wants. That's why, I don't think it's a case of him being a yes man. He's already said what he's had to say, and he knows the fans know that as well. But I just don't think he needs to tell Sky Sports or Talk Sport right before the Wolves game that he's furious, because that will be the main headline, and that could disrupt what we have going on right now.
Here's a question for you. Obviously, you guys know I'm not happy with this Dean Henderson signing. I don't understand why he hasn't pushed back really and gone to the board and gone, do you really need to strengthen here? Do you not have any other options? Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I just cannot see how we've spent this sort of money on Dean Henderson, lads. I can't. I'm sorry. I just I can't.
No, but you're saying that. But Roy could see it differently. Because let's move the money. Because you're saying the thing that we're talking about Dean Henderson is the fee and not signing a striker. But if you move that aside, Stan, I don't think Dean Henderson is a bad signing. He's an England international. He has got Premier League experience. He's a good goalkeeper.
Choice goalkeeper on $100,000.
But it's not second. But you're saying second choice, but we don't know if it's second choice.
He will be, because Sam Johnson.
I think more than likely that he's going to become first choice sooner rather than later. I don't think you sign him to be second choice and spend $50 million.
I agree.
I think the total opposite. Soon. I think he's going to be first choice. But I get what you're trying to say right now, that he's second choice. But I think the idea behind it is Dougie rates him, so I think they're going to try and make him first choice. That's how I see it. But yeah, if you move the finances aside, then I don't think Dean Henderson is bad. But I get what you're saying as well, Stan. I do get what you're saying.
And you can say all you want about Rob Holding, 1 million, whatever, but why have we even wasted our breath in signing this guy, man? Like, honestly.
Damn. Certain clubs over in Spain, they're moving a bit mad. I mean, Greenwood has found a club. That's surprised me a bit. He's went to Getafe. Yeah, he's went to Getafe. Man United, allow that move to happen. Let's see how they treat him over in Spain, which is
did he?
Wild for me.
Really?
Yeah, he signed for Getafe. Wow. Fabrizio Romano tweeted it about 3 minutes ago, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, I mean,
window shuts in 4 minutes. So
yeah, window shuts in 4 minutes. I think we've said our ratings. We've been speaking for the past, me and Patrick anyway, speaking for the past 3 hours about it. Let's just see if anything happens in the last few minutes. As always, people, if you're new here, make sure to hit a like and subscribe. Let's get the likes up with the algorithm. It helps us out massively and takes a second of your time. Thank you, every single one of you who's been with us for the last 3 hours and who has joined us as well at some point. We've hit 226 likes, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's see if we can hit 250, but I think that's a bit too ambitious, especially live, maybe on replay as well. Fabrizio Romano also confirming Rob Holding, £4 million fee confirmed. So that is, well, we said 4, but Ornstein said 1 plus 2.5. So I think it's 1 plus add-ons, which is why it makes it 4.5. So yeah, it should be good. I guess the add-ons got what's it called? I can't even talk. When you're talking for 3 hours, it's kind of crazy. I guess some add-ons have got incentives about whether he plays or not, and I guess if he plays, we start paying more. What is this background? We've got a bit of music here. Hold up, let me play this. I don't know what this is. Okay, we can play it in 3 minutes. That sounds great. I didn't know it was there. Is there any other comments? 2.5 more minutes till the window's shut. We'll sign Zaha next year, says Alex.
Move on from him, lads.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. We got France now. Hopefully that works out.
What are you doing?
Yeah, wait 2 minutes, and then we can play that. I didn't even know that was there. I don't even know that was there. The well-intended reason says, I think Holding might be a pleasant surprise. Of course, I wanted more though. Does Holding have a Ballon d'Or add-on?
That's a good one.
That's funny.
Probably
That's funny.
not.
I don't think
but
so.
You never know.
Probably not. Yeah, based on how his career is going, I doubt it. Steven saying, I believe Sam Johnson is going next season or next window. They are mates, so Henderson knows he's number 1 soon. Potentially.
I think Johnson's got a release clause as well.
Yeah, I remember talking about that. But yeah, it's not going in this window, is he? I mean, there's 2 minutes left. But yeah, I think he's
activate
in the last second. Exactly. I mean, it'll be incredible if they activate, do his medical all within 1 minute, and sign him and get a contract degree. Dan says, what makes it especially frustrating is that we all know the spine is there for us to become real contenders for Europe. Only a few pieces away, but we won't just take the chance. And I think that is on us being a bit more cautious on our approach, which, yeah, there's pros and cons to it. But here we are, I guess. We have spent money this window, though. Let's be honest. We have spent money. To be fair, the money that we spend, I'm fine with it. I didn't
money in needless places.
That's a problem. We have spent money, but I don't think we've spent the money in the right areas. I think that's where my issue lies. I know, and honestly, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I just think Holding is no money. I think I agree with you on you say about the Henderson, that's the only place we spent money that's needless, because France we needed, obviously, and we didn't spend money on Lerma. But I say it again, the only reason it happened because of what happened to Guaita. We would never would have gotten a goalkeeper. So it kind of fell in our hands. He wanted to leave United, blah, blah, blah. But we never would have signed Henderson on any other occasion besides, because we couldn't go into the season with Remy Matthews our backup. Have you seen him play goalkeeper? I saw him live in Chicago, mate. It's not good.
I agree. And he played in League One for Sunderland a few times, and a mate of mine's a Sunderland fan, so I have, and I agree. Right. But like I said, Kasper Schmeichel just had his contract terminated. We could have gone and got him.
But we didn't know that, though. We didn't know he had a contract coming in today.
But
you know what I mean?
There's a number of goalies that will come and be Palace number 2 that can suffice. Alex McCarthy, he would have been absolutely fine as number 2. He probably could have pulled him out $2 million.
Why do you keep saying Alex McCarthy, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. What game was that? He was terrible. Was it Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Terrible. Terrible.
Let me. Look, the window's shut officially now, people. It's 11 o'clock, but Palace in the last minute have announced a signing. It's not striker. Rob Holding is announced by Palace. And if you guys want to see the intro video, I guess we can play it. I guess it won't impact copyright unless Palace copyright us, which I doubt they would. I mean, if they do, that'd be incredible. But yeah, the window is shut. I'll try to get the Rob Holding announcement video. I mean, there's a lot of hype for a player that's going to be like full choice centre back, but hype is hype. I guess here we are. Let me try get it out. Whilst
a lot of work into that video, bro. That's a lot of work into that video, bro. I watched it. That's a lot of work into that video.
Yeah,
Jesus
for
Christ.
Rob Holding.
Spent 7 hours making that video, I'm sure. Yeah. Wow. That video. Yeah, I'm serious. That video took a long time to do. Flipping out.
Yeah. And the comments are brutal. The comments are brutal in that, I mean, I don't want to go through the replies here, but let me play this music because I've never played it.
Media watch.
Yes. Rob Holding is a Crystal Palace player. And on that note, we end. All right, that's enough media watch. Shut up. On that note, we end the transfer window, the summer window, the window we've been talking about and doing near enough daily content for the past 2 to 3 months. It is done. Business finito. Rob Holding is our last signing. Yep, go on, Stan.
Clinton reckons he's got a text. I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm sorry, who?
Clinton Morrison on Sky Sports. My friend just messaged me. Apparently, he's got.
Oh, okay. I'm actually watching it. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see what he says.
He's got a text. Yeah, maybe Rob Holding. I don't know what Clinton's got a text about.
Yeah, probably
Rob Holding's
now.
Yeah, exactly. If he goes through the messages, he'll probably be able to find out. But yeah, I doubt it's anything significant. But if it is, I mean, I have to go to the airport not to pick up. Okay, so C Parish, might as well talk about this. C Parish, he has a comment about Rob Holding. Before we wrap up, he said the following. He said Rob is a player who will bring tremendous quality, possessing considerable Premier League experience for his age. Rob gives us options in 2 positions at the back, and we warmly welcome him to Crystal Palace. That is interesting. 2 options at the back. It's not a fullback. So what do you mean by 2 options at the back? Maybe right centre back, left centre back. Because he's not a fullback.
And
but
remember, they can go 3 at the back. Remember, they can go 3. I mean, they can play 3 at the back with him as opposed to 2 at the back. So
he'll be superb in the back 3. He'll get.
No, that's not going to happen, is it? Though. I mean, we're not going to play 3 at the back.
You know what? I'm not even going to respond to it because I don't want to get this channel in trouble. Because there's no point. I'm not even going to respond to it.
Get demonetized.
No, demonetized. Well, you responded to it. Not like you said, boy. I think there's a lot of people that agree with you. There's some that disagree, but that's game of opinions. If everyone agreed with you, then that'd be a shock because no one can agree with anything with everyone on football. Football. I said it before. Football is so toxic, but I love it as well. It's crazy. It's a crazy sport. I mean, yeah, we go over and beyond for billionaires putting the money in the club, and we're just like little consumers here talking about for 3 hours about transfers, and then Rob Holding is the finale. But look, I'm happy with Holding. Me and Patrick actually done a stream about Holding, so if you haven't already done so, check that out. And people, tomorrow an opposition preview will be dropping in the afternoon. Of course, we're still got games coming and flowing. We've got Wolves. I think that's going to be a massive game. We've done a match preview for that as well, but you can check that out on the YouTube channel as well. That's already posted, so you can check that out straight after this. Opposition preview tomorrow. Sunday, we'll be having reactions to the game. Hopefully 3 points. If you have 3 points, I think we're still heading in the right direction. Despite the window, we can question it. And yeah, look, we got till January now. We have to relax a bit about transfer news, I guess. And then January, we kick forward. We don't need that many signings, but yeah. Look, 3-hour stream done. Thank you to every single one of you who has joined us during the stream. Thank you to Patrick, Stan, Hambo, AJ as well, and everyone in the comments. If you haven't enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Keep safe, people, and until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.